Official Rob Brown Lockdown. Manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Okay. Golly. You know, I know. It is a good morning.
Hey, Big Daddy, how you doing?
Real good, Corey. Thanks for asking, bud. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. I would like to welcome you all to the part of the calendar that we like to call hashtag peak off season. We have reached it. Ladies and gentlemen, the NBA Finals are done. Stanley Cup action concluded last night in Sunrise, Florida. The Cup will stay in Sunrise, Florida. Hockey season is over. The College World Series came to its conclusion last night. A 3-game set concluded in favor of the Tennessee Volunteers. We'll talk about that, but betwixt now and the beginning of football camp, we have but Major League Baseball, the Olympics, and soccer to carry us. Now, don't get me wrong, because I am a host that actually enjoys sports and does not just pretend to on the radio. I am very excited. I am very excited to talk Copa America with you. I'm excited as we exit group play and enter knockout play of Euro 2024 to talk about that with you. Lonzo and I both over the moon about the 2024 Summer Olympics, just weeks away at this point, live from Paris, France. And if you've not been paying attention, the Olympic trials happening all over the country and all over the world,
America,
as we speak. So very excited about the Olympics. But at the same time, I know where we are. I know who we are. I know what we are about. This is a football market. Always has been, always shall be. And I don't have any intention of trying to change that about you or about us. I simply make the effort to broaden your horizons and welcome in other sports. But what I can say, what I will say, is that my dudes and dudettes, we have hit peak off season. We have hit the part of the sports calendar where hosts are going to say things like, who is your most hated athlete of all time? What makes a rivalry a rivalry? What sport do you wish people loved more? You know, the abstract topics. The topics you get into.
Or you could do this thing that we do, and that is tune in, you know, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever day to wrestling, which is amazing. Monday Night Raw last night. It was great.
Haven't finished it.
It was a really good Monday Night Raw. So, I mean, get into let wrestling or MMA or something like that fill you until football season. But you know, the end of these sports that you're talking about, basketball and hockey,
the biggins
and all that stuff, it should be a glorious time, because that means football's around the corner. When the winter sports end in the middle of summer, it is close to football.
We sit as of right now, September 5th. September 5th is our kickoff, and it feels like it's just forever away.
When does preseason NFL start, though?
So that's interesting. 72, by the way, until the kickoff to the regular NFL season. That is interesting because, to me, preseason football is big. Preseason football is a thing. Preseason football is something I go out of my way to watch. I have those games marked on the schedule with the same religious fervor that I have the regular season's kickoff labeled on the calendar. And yet, if I may keep it a buck, no cap, as the kids say. If I may keep it a buck, by and large, nobody cares. By and large, nobody cares.
I completely disagree. So the very first game for the Chiefs, and I'm guessing for just about everybody, is August 10th, which is only a month away. It's just a little over a month away.
That one is 46 days away.
Right, just a little over a month.
I think one thing that we have to, that folks like Lonzo and I have to rationalize and square, as the expression goes, is the reality that as much as...
Were you at a teen event last night or something? Because you're trying to squeeze in all the things the kids say.
No, square away is that's a military term. Get your bunk squared away.
Is it? Okay,
Yeah.
because I know what this is really
Yeah.
about. This is really about you, the baseball soccer fan, thinking you're going to get a few more people in.
Oh, no.
And you're trying to downplay and make it football is so far away. Come and watch the sports that I like. That's what I think you're doing.
First off, there's no think. I'm absolutely going to get people in on those things. That's not
are
think.
you?
Yeah.
Are you?
That's
Okay.
that's a statement
But
of definitiveness.
What demographics mind are you going to change?
All of them.
Wow.
Hashtag influence.
Wow.
They're great sports. They should get more attention. No. What I'm saying in this particular take here is that while football is king, and I have not, shan't not, would not ever argue that point, what I absolutely would say about it is that preseason football, camp, whatever, these are all things people care about. But I've been here long enough to know they don't drive discussion. The sports guys are going to check in and talk about, well, Rob, I didn't see the depth across the Panther offensive line in that preseason game one that I would have liked. But that's about the extent of it. That's about the length of it. We are a long way from football having games that count. And that's when people get checked in. That's when people get tuned in. What I am going to say is last night, Stanley Cup Game 7 was extraordinary. Last night, College World Series Game 3 elimination game was extraordinary. Last night, we had pretty good baseball on. Not great baseball. Braves sucked again. So bad I was too frustrated to put them into the sports flash. That's how bad it went. There's a lot to get into. The Olympics. You and I are both gassed about the Olympics. I love the Olympics. As I've mentioned a number of times, you can all go ahead and mentally prepare yourselves, because I'm going to tell you, I watch dressage for 7 minutes. I become the biggest dressage guy on the planet.
You know what I'm excited about? Because
dressage.
No. I'm excited about something that they're building. If you've watched any of the trials, they're building a certain sport that you didn't know is a sport. Still may not be a sport, but it is an Olympic sport this year, and that would be breakdancing. They're showing. Have you seen any of the push for the breakdancing?
I have not.
Oh, it's good.
I have not.
Started out with little kids dancing, and it shows them progress through age, and now they're going to the Olympics. It's really good.
I like it. I believe
I still have no idea how they're judging the thing.
They're just calling it break, though, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm old school, so because I was there when it started.
Like I said,
So,
I'll get down.
I was
for
there
anything.
the exact day and moment when it started. So yeah,
I will get down for anything. You could play tiddlywinks on TV, but if you slap the American flag onto the shoulder of an international team, I'm not just in, but I will be deep diving some of the strategy and tactics of tiddlywinks so that I can come in here the next day and complain about whoever is the Greg Berhalter of our tiddlywinks team.
dude, you will forever be the marble race guy. So I mean,
For sure.
That's you. That's
For
you.
sure.
When
You say that like I should be ashamed of it.
when I forget your name, and other things, which seems to be on the way. I will remember you as Marble Race Guy.
And you're welcome for it. You're welcome for it. Because if you've not gotten down to marble racing, you're missing out on what the internet was invented for. It was invented for cat videos, Kate the Oiler Girl, and marble racing. Those are the top 3 on the Mount Rushmore of the internet. Those are the things.
By the way, you can watch us live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X.
That's the 4th thing.
Shane on stream says Lonzo created breakdancing. Yeah, me and Bobby Boucher's mom. Anything that Bobby Boucher's mom didn't create, I did.
Bobby Boucher's mom thought breakdancing was the devil.
And it was. And it still is, probably.
Look forward to the Olympics. But at the same time, as I've said, whether we like it or not, it is officially peak off season. We have reached peak off season, which is why coming up here in just a little while from now, here are some of the things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about JJ Redick being introduced officially as the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers yesterday, and some of the comments that JJ made in his presser, because I'm going to tell you, we have talked about opinions changing, about athletes, about coaches, about whatever over the years. I'm not going to say, let me rephrase that. I actually like the hire of JJ Redick. I actually really like the hire. And that's not being sarcastic. I mean it. I actually really like the hire of JJ Redick. I think that we have all done enough complaining over the years about teams, especially in the NBA, about teams that go back to retread coaches, right? They just bring the same guys in over and over and over again. It's like, how many jobs does Doc Rivers need? And he got hired again because reasons, I guess. How many times do folks need to go back to the well on a Van Gundy, right? Love him as dudes, love him as color guys, love him as TV dudes. But how many times do we need to go back to the Van Gundys? These teams keep doing the same things over and over. And finally, a team had the rocks to step outside of the box and make a hire of a non-retread coach, of somebody that's young and gets it and knows ball. And everybody's beating him up. Well, he doesn't have experience. Okay, so you wanted another retread coach, right? But JJ went to the podium yesterday for the first time as the clipboard carrier for the purple and gold. And dude, he won a lot of people over yesterday because JJ, and I'm going to use his own words here, doesn't give a. And he said it yesterday. Quite literally, verbatim, those words. And I watched his presser and I listened to his answers and I went, damn, this is kind of refreshing a little bit. This is kind of refreshing. It is kind of refreshing to have a team that decided, what if we didn't do what everybody else did? What if we just jumped in and made an outlandish hire that nobody saw coming? And that's what they did. And JJ brought the heat right out of the gate. And I liked it. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the NHL Stanley Cup Finals. Florida Panthers winning in 7, 1-3, lost 3, and then played a 2-1 game last night that included 2 of the most beautiful goals I have seen in a long, long time, including that redirect goal from Carter Verhaeghe that opened up the scoring in the first period that I quite literally just went, what? It was incredible. It's incredible. So we'll talk about that. Connor McDavid wins the Conn Smythe Trophy for the postseason's most valuable player. You will notice that if you follow hockey at all, Connor McDavid, and this is true, did not win the Stanley Cup. Did not win it, was yet still voted the postseason overall most valuable player last night. And there is a very good reason for it. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk some baseball. The Bravos, after taking 2 out of 3 against the New York Yankees, went up to St. Louis, and boy, howdy, did the dog days of summer kick off as that game was played in temperatures hovering around 90 degrees. Orlando Arcia removed due to dizziness during the game. And they dropped the first game in this series.
I plan on doing that around hour 3, 20 minutes in. I'm going to be removed
Getting dizzy
from
and
the
removing
show.
yourself from the lineup.
Yeah. I'll be out after that.
So we'll talk some baseball later on in the radio broadcast. And then we've got some other stuff that's going to pop up. Some of it even not sports related. Somebody put together, and I find myself very intrigued by this. Somebody put together a list of 15 television and movie villains who deserve a second chance. And I found it interesting, some of the names that were on there as a pop culture dork. And I wanted to get into them, but then I was like, what if, please, like, you're not going to pop the hell off on this topic, please. You absolutely are.
I wasn't being critical.
Oh, okay, good.
That was, you know.
It's going to be great. 15 movie villains who deserve a second chance. And then I would like to break that down, great one, and go into 15 sports movie villains who deserve a second chance. No, I haven't rounded out all 15 yet, but I got a bunch out there that I'd like to get to. 15 movie villains who deserve a second chance. And then I would like for the Rob Brown Show.
It could be 15, 7. It could be only 7.
Hey, we could come up with 2 or 3.
Okay. All right. Because, okay.
Is there one that pops in off the top of your head immediately? Like one sports movie villain that immediately pops to the top of your head is like, maybe he's not that bad of a guy. He was just trying to do his job and it's a cold job.
Yeah. But I don't remember his character name. Would you like me to say what it is?
Yeah, I do. Let's get one on the list right now.
The reporter from The Natural.
The reporter from The Natural. Was he, do you think he was portrayed as a bad guy?
Yeah.
Or a guy doing
because
his job?
he's kind of the patsy for the guy who owned the team, who was trying to take it away from but he was just out there doing his job. He had a hunch. He remembered Robert Redford, but he couldn't remember where. He followed up on his hunches, figured out where he was from, all that kind of stuff. He's just doing his job.
I like it.
He's kind of a jerk.
Yep.
But, you know, sometimes you got to do that to get the scoop, I suppose.
That's true. That's true. Reporting is kind of the job. I'll give you the first one that came off my mind. I got to defend my guy, Al Bundy. How about Kevin O'Shea from The Little Giants? Al Bundy's character in The Little Giants. Can we keep it a buck? The man was just trying to coach a football team.
Oh, absolutely.
Just trying to coach a team.
Yeah. I mean, gave really good advice to Becky. Now, you could think that maybe it was a little underhanded, that he was taking away the best player from his brother's team, but no, he was helping his niece out. There was so many things he's just doing what he knows about football.
And Icebox had potential she was never going to realize playing for the Little Giants. She was never going to get there. Little Icebox, little Becky could have gone on to maybe be like the first female high school football player in that county. But she was never going to reach that potential playing for Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Wasn't going to happen.
Danny. Dad was Danny.
Kevin O'Shea, a.k.a. Al Bundy in a different role, was just doing his damn job. All right? So we're going to run through some more of those as the program rolls on because there's some good ones out there. There's some good ones coming up on the show. Coming up next, because I got to tell you, I loved it so much, I'm hitting it out the gate. JJ freaking Redick, introduced yesterday as the head coach of the Lakers. Now, I know there's a lot of you going, wait a good gosh darn rootin' tootin' second here, Rob Brown. Why is a Lakers story towards the top of the rundown in Greenville, South Carolina? And the answer is because A, his press conference was super entertaining, but also B, because there's potentially a philosophical swing happening in sports that JJ Redick might be the tipping point of. I'll talk to you about it when we come back. Rob Lonzo and you, the Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. What is this movie that stars fat Matt Damon and Christopher Walken?
It's probably another one of those made just for the Oscars that like 10 people will go see at the theater. Probably. Will
Emma
be
Stone's in it too?
be really weird.
Those damn art people.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't get that. I mean, just do what you want. You don't need to explain it. Just do it. I mean, you know. By the way, good morning, everybody. You guys are up early. Trey John Anderson, is that the swinging guy? Just the swinging. Swinging.
So between here and the wedding, I got to spend no more money. We paid off the photographer yesterday. Photographers aren't cheap. So we had to play we got to save the money. So I can't do any more stuff. So yesterday I thought to myself, all right, what am I going to do to keep myself engaged and entertained until September? And I think a big chunk of it is going to be I'm going to jump back into the video games. I played Wildlands for like 2.5 hours last night. I unlocked so much stuff. So then I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to spend one more money. I'm going to get myself like a good Xbox controller, like a gamer controller, like a good one. And then I went and looked at them, and those SOBs are expensive. Expensive. I like the one that had the paddles on the bottom, right? Instead of triggers, they have like a paddle, so you just pop the finger instead of having to pull the trigger. Because I thought that'll fix how terrible I am at Call of Duty.
Well, yeah. I mean, it cannot be your skill level. It has to be your equipment.
It's the equipment.
Yeah. So back in those days, Trey, all my friends decided country's cool. We're going to listen to country. It's like, dude, you're from Columbus. I mean, come on. Your family's been here for like 5 generations. At least I would have an excuse. My family's from Kentucky. And of course they had better cars than me. So anytime I rode with them, I had to listen to that. What you call music.
What you call music.
What I call easy. Wow.
That was nice, Diesel.
That was not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he might as well be Canadian. Maybe he is. Maybe he's a secret Canadian.
I'm not your buddy, guy. I'm not your guy, pal. I'm not your pal, friend. The Rob Brown Show continues. It's the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Wonderful to have you all here with us today. Robin Lonzo with you. Happy Tuesday, my dudes, my dudettes. Let's get into this JJ Redick thing here for just a minute. JJ Redick has never coached anything higher than elementary level basketball. And when I say elementary, I mean elementary school level basketball. And yet was hired to become the head coach of arguably the most prestigious basketball team in the Americas, the Los Angeles Lakers. Whether they deserve that title or not is up to you, but they are the Lake Show. So, JJ Redick was introduced. Of course, you had the saga with Dan Hurley a handful of days ago. Dan Hurley ends up not becoming the head coach of the LA Lakers. Redick was next in line. He took the call. He took the job, a 4-year contract for JJ Redick. There's a lot of different angles to attack this conversation. One of them, however, jumped to the forefront yesterday as a young lady in the introductory press conference of JJ Redick asked JJ a question. And JJ decided, well, I'll just let you hear the answer.
What misconceptions or concerns about you that you've heard in the last few weeks are you the most looking forward to dispelling when you're the coach?
It was clean before
it's a valid
it was clean
question,
before I
and I've certainly heard everything.
It was already cut up.
It's been a really interesting 6 weeks or so, just in terms of being part of the engagement farming industry. It's been really interesting. However, I don't really have a great answer for your question because I really don't give a honestly. I want to coach the Lakers. I want to coach the team. I don't want to dispel anything. I don't. I want to become a great coach in the NBA, and I want to win championships, and I want my players to maximize their careers. That's all I care about.
Yes, JJ Redick.
Wow. I'll
Yes!
give him a year.
Yes,
I'll give him a year.
Why?
Because if you can't even operate with decorum in front of the press, then how are you going to function in a business like the Lakers?
Because decorum. I'm here to win basketball games.
Hey, Cust! Woo! He's one of. I mean, come on, dude. I mean, be a professional. I'm
going to say JJ Redick, much like Al Bundy and the Little Giants, has a job. That job's win basketball games. That's it. That's the job. I understand that in many spots, there are expected levels of behavior, but I also understand that getting the job done matters more than that. I promise you that if this show was bringing $10 million in revenue a year to the station, I could go stand on the corner with a sign that says, whoever, and the boss would be like, I don't love it.
I am curious.
But you are doing your job.
I'm curious because I don't know this, and I don't know that you do either. I wonder if the NBA can fine coaches for conduct not becoming the league. Because if this continues and he does this during every press conference, well, then he should be fined because he's not being a professional. Hopefully he coaches better and has more restraint than he does with his language. I mean, because there's a time and place for that for some people. This is not it. It's not. I mean, you're coming out the gate showing that you're going to be defiant and go against everybody. And okay.
Defiant and going against who? Unless Jeannie Buss said, don't say,
well,
then he's not defying anybody.
I think it's less about her and more about the league and what they will do if that continues. I think they let one go, but if he does that every single time he's in a press conference, I bet they have a talk with him.
I think of all of the professional leagues, I think the NBA cares the least about it. I don't. I don't think the NBA cares. And I don't think the NBA cares because you will remember I got myself on the heater a couple of weeks ago because I broke rule number 1, which is listen to your audio before you play it. Listen again and then listen a third time. And Kyrie Irving jumped to the mic and said, y'all saw it when I lost my in Boston last time we were there, right? Y'all saw that. I don't think the NBA
That's a player. That's a player and not a coach. I think a coach is held to a different standard.
See, I again, and I don't care. It's a word.
I get you don't care, but other people do.
I understand, but why do those people matter more? Why do those people matter more?
I don't know. I don't know. Why does the FCC matter? It just does. I mean,
for the
I
record,
don't know any of those people. I don't know the people who created the rules. I don't know any. I just know that there are rules that we need to follow if we want to continue working.
I do not believe that the NBA has directly a rule against saying or anything else like it. I don't think there's a direct rule. I think it is much like the FCC. For those of you who don't know how the game works, I may give it away. I don't know if I'm supposed to say it or not, but it is what it is. The FCC does not have a list of things you can't say. There's not they don't email us a list and say you can't say, and you can't say, and you can't say.
Did you not pay attention to the training, or did you just not take it?
No, I took it.
Okay,
I took it.
You just forget that some words are actually in the training, and they tell you
Those
can't
are
do this.
Odyssey words, not FCC words.
Mhm.
The FCC
Okay.
does not, dude. I've
Say some of those words right now.
no. You're. Let me finish what I'm saying here. The FCC has a list of words, or excuse me, the FCC does not have a list of words you can't say. That is not a thing. What they say is if you generate customer complaints, if you generate complaints with your language in your choosing, then they will evaluate whether or not you have acted improperly on a broadcast to step in, which is why if you listen to TV late at night and you turn on, say, Comedy Central, a station that will not air cuss words during the day, at nighttime, they will drop wholesale F-bombs on you because they understand that the demo at that spot, if you tune into that channel late at night, should come with the expectation that you're going to hear adult language. You're just going to. So a complaint from a 2 a.m. South Park watcher is not going to generate an FCC issue. And I know there are rules about being on satellite versus cable versus this versus that. I can say things, for instance, on Sirius that I can't say on terrestrial radio.
All right, I just looked up the FCC rules because I was curious, and I never actually looked at them. And it's against you cannot use obscene, indecent, or profane. Here are some of the things. Indecent content portrays sexual or excretory organs or activities in a way that is patently offensive but does not meet the three-prong test for obscenity. Profane content includes grossly offensive language that is considered a public nuisance. Obscene content does not have protection by the First Amendment. For a content to be ruled obscene, it must meet a three-prong test established by the Supreme Court. It must appeal to an average person's prurient interest, depict or describe sexual conduct in a patently offensive way, and taken as a whole lacks seriously literary, artistic, political, or scientific value.
Right. As in, there's not a list of things you can't say.
Okay, so say them.
No, because the FCC will get those complaints.
All right, so your argument, it doesn't make sense because you know the words you can't say. You say it's not in here, but you know the ones you can't say. Why? Because someone told you can't say them.
You ready for
Who told you you couldn't say
Hang
them?
on. No one did. I just know what
Really?
the accepted rules
Really?
of vulgarity are. Yes. For
Really?
instance, I had a boss once that said, don't say ass on the radio, but I just said it on the radio, right? Like do you see what I'm saying? In one station I worked for, that was a word I was forbidden to use by my employer. Here, I don't say it all the time, but if it adds a point of emphasis, I certainly will. The point here is JJ Redick's job is not dictated by the FCC. They're not hammering down on him for saying the F word.
Part of his job is being in public. And normally, someone being disrespectful to media would get your ire
He
up.
wasn't being
He was
disrespectful.
very
No, he
disrespectful
was
to
not.
media, and not only
In
media,
fact- in
but
fact-
a female member
In fact,
of the media.
quite the opposite. He literally opened it with, here, I'll play you the question in the first again.
What misconceptions or concerns about you that you've heard in the last few weeks are you the most looking forward to dispelling when you're the coach?
It's a valid question, and I've certainly heard everything.
It's a valid question. It is a valid question. There's nothing wrong with it. And he wasn't disrespectful. The answer to the
Why'd
question
you cut
was,
it off?
I don't give a
Why'd you cut it out? Because you're gonna say because
you're playing the music. Yeah, that's exactly
That's
why.
what you're gonna say.
Because he said, that's the answer to the question, right? I don't need to give you a flowery answer to a question to which the answer is I don't give a. There's a lot of things I don't care about, and I will tell you when I don't. JJ didn't do anything wrong. He used a bad word. Okay, don't listen to JJ Redick press conferences if it bothers you. but he didn't do anything wrong except for win me over. I'm all in now. I love this answer, and I love more. We got more for that press conference, and I got more because I think there's a philosophical change in sports coming off
I
this
bet
hire.
there'll be more cursing.
Okay, it's an
Wow.
adult. It's an adult space.
Wow, lack of intelligence.
No,
that's sad.
That is
It's so
absolutely
sad.
okay. We're coming back because that is a common misconception. It is actually the other way around. We'll talk about it on the Rob Brown Show. We are hitting the big issues today on the Fan Upstate.
Way to almost talk through two beds.
Well, then you said I was unintelligent. I had to fire back at that.
I did not.
You did?
I did not. I said his cursing was a.
Yeah, and you know I curse all the
If
time.
you curse every other word, then you're saying that you're not very smart.
That is-
just. I mean, it's not a misconception. It's just my judgment. Whether you like that or not, I don't. I mean.
If
Hey,
you
bleep,
like that I
bleep,
call you-
bleep,
if you
bleep,
like
bleep.
that
Okay.
I call you a dummy, that's on you.
Hey, bleep, 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 bleep. Okay, dude, what did you just say? I mean, okay, you used the F-bomb 10 times. What did you say? I don't, I mean, I know you're smarter than that. And I'm guessing that JJ Riddick is smarter than that. Or Reddick, however you want to say it. Doesn't matter. He's only going to be there a year. And I am curious going forward if suddenly his potty mouth stops.
I have many thoughts. So many bleeping thoughts.
It's amazing how how defensive you are over
You just
cursing.
called me a dummy.
I did
What
not.
am I supposed
I did
to
not.
do?
I was talking about JJ Reddick. I never said
Okay,
you.
who I talk
never
like.
said-
Am I
I
a
never-
dummy?
No, you don't. You do not. You do not talk
Not
that
around
way.
you, I don't.
Yeah.
But take me and Chris to the other side of the building. Let me go sit in the boss's office.
Yeah, and let's listen to it and see if once we decipher what the real words were and not all the basically conjunctions to get to where the real words
I
were.
literally said I don't bleeping care to a manager yesterday. The same thing.
Wow, and you're still employed?
Look at me.
This is akin to the argument I had with Mark Ryan because he wanted to say a certain word on the air. And he wanted to fight till the end of his life to put that word on the air. I don't understand the passion behind it. That's what I don't get. I don't get
It's not- no,
because
no, no.
because
It's not that.
if you can't say it on the air,
It's
that
not
means it's not acceptable.
It's not that. The definition of acceptable, like with everything else, is based on time and place. It is not acceptable to roll up into this office in a Speedo, but when I go to the beach, it is.
It is acceptable to roll up into this office. It's
totally
not
do
liked. We have you use that, but we don't have a dress code.
Okay,
And the
rephrase
building's
that.
closed. I mean, most offices, you're probably right, but not this one.
I think that there is a belief, not just held by you, held by most people, that anybody who does it different than I do it does it wrong.
I get you want to be a rebel. That's fine, but you're
I
not
don't think
really.
saying
But you're
bad
not
words
really
is
being.
not
I'm
rebellious
more of a
behavior.
rebel than you are, because you're just being like everybody else. At least to you, you're being
know
like
me.
everybody else. But there are more people out there like me than you believe there are.
I didn't say there weren't. What I say is that I don't cast judgment or aspersion on how those people are living their life because of their choice of language or lack of.
I
And
do.
you do.
JJ Redick might as well be Gronk.
Who you also go after.
Right, because
Unnecessarily.
I don't know what to say, so I'll just say this.
No, this whole belief that like if you're cursing, it's because you don't know what to say is a bad take.
it's
It's a
not.
bad take.
It's not. That's your opinion, and your opinion's wrong.
So there's no rocket scientists that use bad words.
I don't care. I don't know any rocket. Actually,
I-
I do. I do know. A
You
rocket
must care
scientist.
because if
I do
there
know.
is,
I do. Do you know any rocket scientists?
I do.
You're
Next
from-
door neighbor's son is a rocket scientist for NASA.
Raven's best friend is. I think she's working for NASA now. That was her goal.
And that's awesome. Big fan of rocket
Watching
scientists.
her and Cameron have a physics discussion in front of Mark Ryan and his brain exploding was one of my favorite things of all time.
texter says nobody with kids wants to hear those stinking words, dadgummit. What the heck is your problem, Rob? I'm so freaking sorry. I don't know what the snot I was thinking. I'm a terrible person. What do you want? Texas said, Reddick, by taking this job, is guaranteeing he's one and done as an NBA coach. This will fail spectacularly.
Yeah, it's going to burn out. It's going to burn out. It's going to be amazing to watch, and we get to watch the thing.
All right. Then I would like to go ahead and at the bottom of the Google document, I am going to put Texter, your phone number, and Lonzo in our bold prediction phase saying JJ Redick will fail.
Hey,
and
Texter,
underneath it,
we just made the list.
I need that as a clip. Underneath that, I am also going to place Rob Brown. JJ Redick may or may not fail. Because, see, I'm not making a definitive statement.
Way to be wishy-washy there. He might fail. He might not. You know, that's
correct.
That's life.
Correct.
You might fail. You might not.
Both of you, Texter and Zoe, because JJ Redick said a naughty word, have declared he's going to fail. And I don't understand it.
It's more about your defense. I mean, you are so worked up over this. And I have never understood that. I mean,
no.
It's like you're defending one of your own. And why? What are you doing?
I'll tell you where this comes from. This comes from that my point was not JJ said, and therefore JJ will win. That's not what I said. It's not what I'm saying. It's not my point at all. What I said was JJ went from a guy that yesterday afternoon I was going, I don't know. I don't know if he's got it, right? If this is a hire made because it was Braun's guy, if this was a guy that got the job because he's a good podcaster, because LeBron joined forces with him in the, quote, broadcast world, end quote, then I don't know if JJ's got the swag to walk into the locker room and have Anthony Davis go, yes, sir, Coach Redick, whatever you say. But what I will say is, I heard this yesterday along with the rest of the press conference. Most of it, which I will acknowledge, was just pretty much your day-to-day coach speak. I heard this presser. I heard the way JJ was answering questions, and I went, I'll say this. My dude's got the attitude on him, because I do think it takes some attitude. I do think it takes the aura, as the kids are calling it. I think takes
you just
the
now
attitude.
notice his attitude as much as he's been in the news for his opinions and things like that. That's not a surprise.
No, I think there's a difference between you're in the news because you've got basketball hot takes and you're in the news because you rocked the boat the second you put a foot on it. Rocking the boat's not bad. And I think that this was, in large part, a lot of people are looking at this as it's a rock the boat hire. It's a rock the boat of a hire. It is rocking the boat from when he got on there. He is nothing like any of the other first-year coaches we've seen in years gone by. It is a rock the boat moment for the LA Lakers and for the NBA. And I think rocking the boat makes people uncomfortable. But I would also say, talk about movies or music or television or literature or poetry or sports, rocking the boat makes history. It just does. Rocking the boat is what makes history.
Unless the boat capsizes real early.
I promise you, there are, for every rock the boat moment, for every time that Led Zeppelin turned the distortion to 90 and changed the way music sounds, for every time Ringo put carpet on top of his drums to create a whole new sound and changed music, for every one of those rock the boat moments, there is a million efforts to rock the boat that failed. But at least they had the guts to try something new. And many of them turn into makers of history. You got the notion. Yeah, I like to know when you got the notion. What a banger, dude. Rock the boat, don't rock the boat, baby. Rock the boat. Rock the boat. Banger. What a throwback, too. Throwback. Sorry, stream. You guys didn't hear the electricity.
Yeah, actually they did. I took a chance, but
Okay.
the podcast won't hear it. They'll be like, what is Rob doing?
Said I'd like to know when you got rock the boat moments is what are what makes history. That's just what it is. And I know that I'm not going to sit here and compare the hiring of JJ Redick to, world leaders who went out of their way to rock the boat and created a new system of governance or whatever. What I am going to say is that
you're
the
gonna compare him
formula,
to Jeff Saturday, which would be the most relevant comparison, right?
I don't think it is.
Isn't it though?
That is an in-season interim coach.
But a guy who had no experience.
Correct. Just like JJ Redick. You know what else he doesn't have? To me, proof it all that he had the mind of football that JJ Redick has about basketball.
I will agree that JJ Redick appears to have the mind of basketball. And he had a really long career, including, if I recall, he played with the Lakers. So he understands what it's like to be on the team and what the atmosphere is and what the expectations are. But that doesn't mean he can coach.
I didn't say he could coach. What I said was there's a lot of people that have been blasting this hire. And listen, I got no love for the LA Lakers, all right? I'm not a Laker guy by any stretch of the imagination. What I am saying is, to me, the Lakers had two options. They could follow the same old tired formula that other NBA teams have been hiring coaches by for years. And maybe they get a guy and maybe they don't. They could have gone with any old retread NBA head coach hire and done what so many other teams have done. Or they can look at the situation that they're in. A situation where LeBron has at the most 2 seasons left in the NBA. At the most 2 seasons left. Where Anthony Davis is the guy they've gone all in for. And Anthony Davis has, in my ever so humble opinion, proven that he ain't the next guy. He does not have the brass on him to be the next guy. So basically, what LA is stuck with here is a situation where they have to realize when the LeBron era comes to its conclusion, and that is definitively sooner rather than later, then this locker room has got to be blown up. It's got to be reset. It's got to be reestablished. They will have to find their next superstar. So go all in now. Go all in now. Because if you're bringing a retread and that retread does nothing, what do you end up with? You end up with a situation where a couple years down the line, not only is LeBron gone, not only is Anthony Davis not the guy, not only have you not found the star, but now you've not found the star and you've got some guy as your head coach. If JJ Redick doesn't work out, what's the difference between JJ Redick and bringing a Doc Rivers in? Nothing. Except with JJ Redick, there's the upside of we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen here. So I like the hire. And more importantly, JJ Redick got asked, I'm sure, 1,000 times yesterday, hey, man, everybody says you're not the right hire. Everybody's got questions about this hire. What's your thought? Thought is, I don't give a. I'll tell you right now. The number of I don't give up moments in my career is also extensive. Unfortunately, I'm not making JJ Redick money to have those moments. But do you understand? So you don't use it in that language, but how many times have we ended a segment where we got going down the list of 5 most powerful Jedi? Or how many times have we gone down the path of the hot dog v. glizzy debate? How many times have we done these segments and we end the segment and I go, all right, sorry that we did that, but real sports coming up. And you always say what?
Stop apologizing.
Right.
Yeah,
or I don't give up. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Yours is just a more family-friendly way of saying I don't give up. That's it.
It is a more radio-friendly and probably a more TV-friendly, yes, because I try to be a professional, unlike JJ Redick.
And Rob Brown.
So anybody who cusses in the world, if I say anything about them, I'm saying it about you.
No, what you're saying is people like that are unprofessional. You got no idea.
It's like saying, white man can't jump. So no white man can jump,
The ludicrousness.
which we know is
To me.
not true because we've seen. I mean, and some don't have to, like that basketball player that we talked about.
That
last
basketball player.
week. You don't remember his
You
name
know that
either.
one.
You don't.
Talk about dunk contest, bro.
No, the dude who can. It was like,
Oh, old 7'9"
Yeah,
down
yeah.
in Florida.
yeah, that guy.
Yeah, I'll remember his name when he does
He just
something.
have to get on
besides
He just
B79.
have to get on his tippy toes.
What I push back against is the notion that JJ Redick's going to fail because he said a dirty word. That's what I push back.
It's not. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with his attitude and his treatment of the media, which they will not put up with. It's funny now, but
Bro,
if he
wait,
continues,
stop.
if he
Nope.
continues to act that
Do me
way,
a favor.
the media will lash
Do me a
out.
favor. Do me a favor. Don't listen to JJ Redick. Listen to the background.
I heard
Listen
the
to
background.
Misconceptions or concerns about you that you've heard in the last few weeks are you the most looking forward to dispelling when you're the coach?
It's a valid question, and I've certainly heard everything. It's been a really interesting 6 weeks or so, just in terms of being part of the engagement farming industry. It's been really interesting. However, I don't really have a great answer for your question because I really don't give a honestly. I want to coach the Lakers. I want to coach the team. I don't want to dispel anything. I don't. I want to become a great.
There it was. Did you hear my guy in the background? I love that.
Yeah, it was basically, oh no, he did.
I love it.
Oh no, he did. Oh, burn. Whatever, dude. I mean, it will get old fast. It will get very
Can you-
old fast.
Would you do me a favor? Would you mind rolling the first 10 seconds of the Fight Club intro? Just out of curiosity.
I don't know that we have enough time.
Oh, we got time.
No,
Just 10 seconds.
I
Just
don't,
11
I
seconds.
don't know where it is.
Because in there somewhere, somebody says the double champ does what the
By the way,
wants.
that's not the first 10 seconds because
Whatever.
you don't really listen. I mean, it starts out with Daniel Cormier. There's
Mike Tyson threatening to eat
yeah,
babies.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Unprofessionals.
Connor's the last. Your fighters.
Okay.
JJ Redick ain't no fighter.
He's an athlete.
He is a
In a competitive
representative
sport.
of a professional business, and his conduct is unbecoming.
I am glad to know that Lonzo cares about the prestige and aura of the LA Lakers that much. I had no idea. Wouldn't have guessed that.
I care about all business. Someday I would like to make money in one.
Ouch. I don't care. I love it. The media absolutely ate it up. They loved it. I watched the press conference. They loved it. I love it. I'm not a Lakers guy. I got no issue if the Lakers never
So
win
what
another
you're
game.
saying is, if he hadn't cursed, you'd still hate the Lakers.
No, if he would have said, I don't give a freak,
What if he didn't say any of that at all? He went up there and did coach's speech like he was supposed to.
then I would not. I would be sitting here today going, all right, we'll see.
So
Just
you
like I am.
people who are defiant and curse.
No, what I like is people who bring some damn attitude into the job, a job that requires attitude. It is the exact same as when I flip channels and I hear somebody going, welcome to the sports show here on the sports station. Today we're going to talk about what color socks Clemson's going to wear next year. Give me some attitude, man. Give me some juice. Give me some gas. Give me something, right? Show me that you care. Show me that you freaking care. That's what I'm looking for.
Is there like a 12-step program or something that I can take to find out about how to get attitude? Because I don't really know how to do that, and I've always wanted to learn.
Just got to go back and watch like late 90s wrestling. You'll find it. No, I'll tell you the other reason that I think that. And this was actually where I was ultimately driving, but here we are. The other reason I say this is because if guys like JJ Redick succeed, then guys like Dennis Allen stop getting jobs. That I'm serious. Like, I know it's haha funny because that's Rob's crappy retread coach, but that's the philosophy for me. There are out there a ton of JJ Redicks waiting for the spot, waiting for the opportunity, no ball, understand how to communicate with players, understand how to communicate with the media and the fans. There are a ton of them out there, and yet Dennis Allen got a head coaching job before they did. If JJ Redick steps into this role and succeeds in year one as the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, then I think there is the possibility of a philosophical change amongst NFL, NBA, MLB front offices that maybe we don't need to run back to the same guys. All due respect, because I love Ron Washington, but the Angels hired a 72-year-old man to come coach their baseball team. Do you think he is successfully communicating with a 21-year-old pitcher making his rookie debut at 72? No.
Does he have a history of winning as a coach?
Not as as a head coach, yeah, with Texas, but that was 2 decades ago, right?
Okay, all right. So, JJ doesn't have that.
I don't disagree, but is
If
2
he fa-
decades
if
ago's
he-
players the same as players
If
today?
he fails, he will be Jeff Saturday. And the chances of other people being able to do this will go down again.
Andy Reid is stepping away, and your favorite NBA team's coaches are stepping away. I'll allow you to pick one. Would you rather have Jeff Saturday coach your football team or JJ Redick coach your basketball team? You get to pick one.
So by the way, we both know that I am not a team guy in NBA, so I don't have a favorite.
That's why I
coach.
said your favorite team and
So
not a specific team.
Your question was set up so that I would answer it the way that you want me to.
Who are you more confident in, Jeff Saturday getting a full-time job or JJ Redick?
I don't know yet.
Yeah, I do.
You know what I do know? I do know that you're pressing the clock. That's what I know.
I don't give a. That's not true. I give a big bleep. Back after this sports flash from the great one.
He's going to go down the hall and apologize. Your 2024 NCAA baseball national champions are the Tennessee Volunteers after a 6-5 win over the Texas A&M Aggies. The Aggies trailed by 6-1 at the end of the 7th and attempted to rally, putting up 2 in the 8th and 9th. But the Volunteers were able to finish the comeback effort. The win gave Tennessee its first baseball national championship. I don't know why I'm reading in monotone. The Carolina Panthers will stay in Charlotte for the foreseeable future after the Charlotte City Council approved a joint $800 million stadium renovation plan that guarantees football in Charlotte for 2 more decades. Hey, tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for a brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel. I say them separately. That way I don't get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, a whole lot of fun, all Wire to Wire. I got to bend over and get that. This kind of means, right?
Chris is in a mood.
Yeah, I heard someone was loud because I could hear it through the door.
Chris is in a mood.
Is this about other people being
I
dumb,
don't know.
or is this legitimately,
I don't
you
know.
know,
Asked him a
having
question
deadlines and not getting them
Asked him
done?
walking a question. Asked him a question as we were walking down the hall. Oh, there he is for my house. It's
My
got
experience with docking stations like that
Yeah.
is that they don't provide power.
okay.
They are intended to be portable, which I think defeats the purpose of a
Yep.
docking
Yep.
station.
Yep.
But some people like them.
It doesn't
so-
say battery powered or anything
Well, no,
Uh,
it's that it doesn't provide power to
to the computer.
the laptop.
Yeah.
So you'll need to make sure.
Well, this will
that-
be for the laptop that stays on the desk at the house to connect to monitors on the wall.
right, which means you would
And
need to
because-
plug in your power supply separately.
But it's got 2 HDMI's and looks like 5 USB outs. Can USB run a monitor? No, I need more HDMI's. No, it's got 3 HDMI's, which
It
would
says
work.
2 HDMI, 1
No, it
display
does.
port.
That's not an HDMI. Yeah, that is a display port. Okay. I'm trying to say. I think I've settled on.
Yeah, it is. No, it's
3.
not. Yeah, it is. No, it's not. He's arguing with
I
himself.
should learn to read.
Well,
I think I'm going to do 3 monitors across the wall, like 3 smaller monitors on the wall, and then my laptop on the desk, so I can take. Because when I run shows at the house, I have 2 laptops, one on a riser and one underneath it, and I like to get rid of that and just have one that everything runs off of.
right.
But if I'm gonna, this I could do 2 monitors, which I could live with a 3 monitor
You
setup.
can. There are also resolution
Yeah,
considerations, which we can talk about when you're not on the air.
I accept. Thank you very much. You're an icon and an American hero.
Thank you, Chris.
Here we go. Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Radio program is underway. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Fan Upstate. Robin Lonzo, happy Tuesday. Running through all the sports stuff. No, I'm not fighting. I'm not fighting it because I don't give a. Might be the new tagline of the show, to be honest with you.
I don't know. Will that work for the 3-time? If we get the 3-time, I don't know.
The Rob Brown Show. We don't give a.
If we reach the limo riding phase where we think we're better than we are, and
Nobody's perfect, but I am very, very close.
okay, so you're saying you're already there.
Hell yeah!
I'm not saying that. A lot of stuff we are getting to on the show today, but as always, there are 3 things, sometimes more.
He said, but
There are some sports stories that stand out amongst the rest, that rise above the rest. And those, of course, are the things that you will be talking about when you get to the office this morning. You're going to walk down that hallway. You're going to go meet your coworker or coworkers, perhaps, and maybe even use some adult language when you talk about the 3 sports stories that you will find in today's water cooler cheat sheet.
Shut the hell up.
It is indeed the water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports this lovely upstate Tuesday morning. Let's begin with item number 1. Lord Stanley's Cup was awarded last night after a Game 7 in Sunrise, Florida. The Cup will make its home, Sunrise, Florida, for the next year. A 2-1 victory in Game 7 awarded the Stanley Cup to the Florida Panthers. That is the 4th Stanley Cup in the state of Florida in the last 30 years, which hilariously is 4 more Stanley Cups than the entire country of Canada has won in the same time frame.
oh, that's Canada.
And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for ya.
The state of Florida for the past 3 decades has been 400 times more successful at hockey than the entire country of its origin. Ladies and gentlemen, I humbly submit to you that Florida is no longer the Sunshine State. It's now the hockey state.
Hey, really quick, I saw a former co-part wondering why everyone hates Canada. It's probably because he can see Canada out of his back window. But anyway.
Nobody hates Canada. It's just fun to make fun of people when they're bad at a thing that is their thing, you know?
Yeah, didn't they make that?
It's
and,
like
and
their thing.
Now they can't do it anymore. That sucks for them.
It is their thing. No, it's not. It's Florida's thing now. As you all know, the capital of ice hockey on planet Earth is Florida.
Get the best of both worlds. You get in there and get in the ice, and then you go out in the sun. Who wouldn't want that?
Last night, you had a goal early from Carter Verhaeghe, a tip in off of a fling towards the net. Not really a shot, not really a pass, really just trying to get it close and get a deflection goal was Evan Rodriguez. Didn't matter. Carter Verhaeghe with a I don't even know how to describe it. The puck was going across the front of the net, across the front of Stu Skinner. Verhaeghe got his stick in the air, knocked the puck out of the air, redirected it 90 degrees down through the 5-hole, and got the win for goal number 1. Just about 5 minutes later, Edmonton, Matthias Janmark would answer with a goal of his own off the wrister with 6:45 left to play. And we would stay knotted at 1-1 for a while. That is until Sam Reinhart, along with a pair of other Panthers, skated on a 3-2 breakaway. Reinhart set up the crossed goal pass and then decided to go upper right, up over the shoulder of Stu Skinner with the wrister. Verhaeghe was credited with the primary helper on that one. That made it 2-1 in favor of the Cats. And despite a frantic third period that included a lot of ice time out of the front 5 for Edmonton, they were gassed. They were juiced. They were out there forever. Hyman had 24:52 on the ice. Connor McDavid, 25:42 on the ice. 22:22 for Draisaitl. They spent so much time out there that by the end of it, they were gassed. And Edmonton, deep in the contest, just did not have the tread on the tire to find the equalizer and buy themselves a ticket to an overtime period. An unfortunate ending for an Edmonton Oilers team that was on the verge of history. Florida won 3 in a row. Edmonton won 3 in a row to get back to within striking distance. We thought there was a chance at history last night. Alas, it was not to be. The Stanley Cup will remain with the Florida Panthers down in Sunrise. Back-to-back Stanley Cup trips for the Panthers last year got demolished by the Las Vegas Golden Knights. This year, they get their revenge. Let's go on to item number 2. I don't know if before yesterday you knew the name Tony Vitello. Tony Vitello is the head coach of the Tennessee Volunteers, and Tony Vitello just skyrocketed up the list of Rob Brown's favorite coaches, all right? It's like Dawn Staley is up there, Andy Reid is up there, and now and JJ Redick is up there, and Tony Vitello is up there. The Tennessee Volunteers are your 2024 Men's College World Series national champions after they were able to kill off a vicious rally from the Texas A&M Aggies. The Colt will head back to the Compound Sansa Trophy because it's on its way to Knoxville, Tennessee. 6-5 winners went the Volunteers last night.
Do they have the Yale guys in other sports, or is that just football?
I don't know. They didn't show them last night, or at least I didn't see them last night if they were out there. But the Yale leaders were the ones who introduced me to the reality that this is probably a cult. And it is. They are a cult who still does not have a baseball national championship, as the Volunteers got it done last night. Tennessee pitching racked up 14 strikeouts last night, including 7 in 5.1 innings of work from Zach Seacrest, who was spectacular. 6-1 in the postseason was Seacrest. He was phenomenal from the dish. The Volunteers, 13 knocks last night. They ended up with 5 doubles, I believe, or four doubles last night. They ended up with a pair of dingers as well. Tennessee decided to wait until the last minute to start pouring on the runs, but they did. Tennessee was up 1-0 in the bottom of the first. A&M got it back in the top of the third to go level. Tennessee added up a pair in the bottom of the third to make it 3-1. We would stay that way until the bottom of the seventh when Tennessee added 3 more. That made it 6-1. The Aggies got 2 back in the eighth to make it 6-3. They got 2 more in the top of the ninth to make it 6-5, but the rally came up just shy of history. Tennessee will be your baseball national champions for this year. Let's get to item number 3. It is official. The Carolina Panthers will be in Charlotte, North Carolina for at least another 20 years. Last night, as I told you they would, the Charlotte City Council voted to approve a joint $800 million stadium renovation plan alongside the Panthers that ties the Cats to the city for the next 20 years. Under the policy document that was approved by the city council, the city will pay $650 million toward the renovation of Bank of America Stadium. David Tepper will kick in $150 million up front and then another $421 million in potential overages, capital improvements, and maintenance. That's what it's called. Maintenance charges over the lifetime of the deal. The city's investment to be funded by existing hospitality and tourism tax resources, which are required by the state to be spent on projects to support the city's tourism economy. Inside of the individual language of that requirement is that the money must be spent on projects that support the arts, amateur sports, or local, basically Bank of America Stadium at that point. David Tepper put out a statement that said, quote, "For nearly 30 years, Charlotte has been the home of the Carolina Panthers and more recently Charlotte FC. We are proud to be in the Carolinas and look forward to delivering a venue that meets the needs of our community, players, and fans for years to come." Councilman Malcolm Graham acknowledged that some members of the council had what he called, quote, "trust issues," end quote, with David Tepper after his previous deals for a Panthers practice facility in Rock Hill, South Carolina, and a practice facility for his MLS team, Charlotte FC, in Charlotte, fell through, though somebody who followed it, paid attention to it. A lot of people blame Rock Hill as much, if not more, than they blame David Tepper for the failed HQ in Rock Hill, South Carolina. A lot of folks feel like the city jumped in board and then pulled back their support of the plan, and that is why it went in that direction. Councilwoman Tijuana Brown voted no on the deal. She said, "Lonzo, you ready for just a little bit of petty?" She said, quote, "It sounds real good until we get Mr. Tepper angry, and then he might throw something at the city council. The behavior of someone asking for $650 million is ridiculous," end quote. Obviously referencing the drink throwing incident from Jacksonville last year, which is, so that we are very clear, a fair thing to do.
I was going to say, well, what did she say that was wrong?
Yeah.
I mean, and it might actually be a fear.
The Panthers had a number of representatives, including former running back Jonathan Stewart, who spoke in favor of the renovations. He asked the city council to, quote, "embrace this opportunity to let the Queen City shine better, even more so than it did in 2015, end quote. Of course, 2015, the year the Panthers went to the Super Bowl. The Panthers opened play at BOA in 96. It is now considered one of the older stadiums in the league. However, the Panthers have said that the 72,000-seat stadium has, quote, "good bones," and that is such an old guy thing to say, isn't it? Good bones is holding up relatively well. It remains in need of major renovations to bring it up to other par with stadiums around the league. David Tepper was met with resistance because of the fact that he is the second wealthiest owner in the NFL, worth an estimated $20.6 billion. As I said yesterday, the total wealth that David Tepper is chipping in, and this includes everything over the lifetime of the 20-year deal, works out to 0.02% of his total wealth. 0.02% of his total wealth. That's 0.02. I'm doing the math just because I'm curious. Lonzo, if you made $100,000 a year, that would work out to you paying $2,000 towards this project. It's not nothing.
No, I was going to say thank you for picking a number that I still will never attain, but it's that's cool.
It's not nothing, but in the grand scheme of things, it's really nothing.
I mean, money he has in the bank is accruing interest that's more than what he's given. Yeah, I don't know.
Obviously, so when you start talking about billionaires, the majority of folks in that position actually don't have much in terms of liquid assets, right? Like they don't have much in terms of actual cash in a bank. They don't have a bunch of money stashed away. They have all that wealth in hedge funds and
I get
stocks.
that, but they have to have some. They have to have the money to live on.
Sure.
And how they live compared to how we live is a little more expensive.
It is unfathomably more expensive than how you and I live. I yesterday sat home and had an existential crisis because I wanted to buy a $100 Xbox controller because I can't spend money until the wedding. So my plan was immediately spend money. I had a whole crisis over whether I spend $100 on an Xbox controller. My man's over here getting $650 million from the city.
You can start a GoFundMe for you if you want.
Or somebody just buy me an Xbox controller.
No, he's not really soliciting that. He's not doing that.
I am not. You know why? Because that's against the rules. And
yes.
I follow the rules.
Even if I have to help you do it, yes.
I don't give a.
So you missed it. You're over there struggling with the world.
Anyway, the plan has been approved by the Charlotte City Council. The good news for you, the fans, the good news is outside of the outside pavilion that will be set up for watch parties and the like on Mint Street, one of the renovations that has been earmarked by the plan that was approved last night by the city council, new bathrooms in the stadium. So we got that going for us, which is nice.
I got one. You didn't see.
I heard it.
Okay. Is that where the scalper?
Oh, sorry. Jacob did the math. It's actually $20, not $2,000.
Wow.
Do you understand why all my jobs involve microphones?
That's even less. Will scalpers be hanging out at those parties? Because they'll be easier to find. I'm just guessing. It's outside, right? So why wouldn't they'll be over there?
It is my understanding. It's outside where the two big Panther statues are. That pavilion is going to be expanded and basically make it a big party area, which I, for the record, think is kind of dope.
Cool.
I think it is cool. All right, how we feel about that? David Tepper gets his way, gets a whole lot of free money. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
New life.
All right, guys, live reading, then we'll come back and do a math class together. Stay right there. don't get what do you mean you don't get flip
Having
flops?
stuff in between your toes. How do you get used to that?
You just wear flip flops.
Yeah, I just no.
See, I feel that way about slides
Why?
because they just like I never feel like my feet are secure in slides. I feel like I'm one misstep away from
That's-
eating it.
No, you're one misstep away from your bare feet touching the floor.
Also
That's what it is.
Also that. I've seen Stoneman's feet. I'm not trying to walk barefoot on the same floor he does.
You see the next break.
10-4. I do have one complaint for all of my fellow statesmen from the Sunshine State of Florida, aka Hockeytown, USA. Sorry, Hockeytown, the world. I have one major complaint with the state of Florida. I watched that game last night with heightened expectations. It's game 7. There is no better pair of words in sports than game 7. It's the best thing. So I knew I was in for a treat. I knew we were in for a treat, and it was very good. It maybe wasn't the most thrilling game 7 I've ever watched, but it was by no means bad. It was a fine game. It's a 1-goal game, low scoring. Both goalkeepers absolutely on the flow last night. But then I started paying attention when they were going to intermissions and we were getting Messier and PK breaking down the game, because those guys were standing at a desk up in the corner of the arena, which meant that when you were looking at PK and Steve Levy and Messier up in the corner, the camera was pointed backwards out into the stands in Sunrise, Florida. And when they got to the first intermission and they started going up to PK, Messier, and Levy, I went, that's a lot of orange, dude. And you may not know this for those of you that don't follow hockey, but the home team, the Florida Panthers, they do not wear orange. They wear red and white and gold. So it was very interesting. And then I started scrolling the social media because I do like going and finding people that are posting and going live from these events. Give you a little POV from the stands. I'm a fan. And there was a picture after the goal that was scored by Edmonton when the on-ice skaters all gathered in the corner to celebrate. I would guesstimate that about 30 to 35% of the people in that stadium were Edmonton Oilers fans. And I got a little issue with that. You know, it is one thing if you've got tickets to a game and a little nobody team is coming to town, right? It's one thing if you've got tickets and the worst team in the league is coming to your house, coming to your barn to play. And if you're a fan that owns a ticket, putting that ticket out on the market to make some money off of it, because season tickets are, and this is true, friggin' expensive, man. They're expensive. So I don't fault people who sell their tickets when their tickets are, you know, up against the Charlotte Hornets coming to town or whoever. That's one thing. I got kind of a problem with fans who have tickets to a Stanley Cup Game 7 at the crib and are willing to sell those tickets and allow the bad guys to take over upwards of 30%, maybe more, of home ice, of your barn, of your house, of your crib. I was a little disappointed by that. And I was a little disappointed because while I am very much enjoying rubbing the collective face of Canada into the knowledge now that the state of Florida is more successful at your sport than your whole damn country. And while that does entertain me, and by the way, just so we're clear, Canada's a beautiful country. And the people from Canada are exceptionally and overwhelmingly nice.
Have you been to Canada?
I have not, but my little brother has, and my sister and brother-in-law have, and they all loved it. There's a place I would like to go today in
Wait,
Canada.
you have a sister?
In-law.
Okay, all right.
Soon to be officially, I guess.
Okay, all right.
They have both been there and have had nothing but wonderful things to say about Canada.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess the country is probably lovely.
It's a beautiful
and
country.
they have moose, but they don't
have a Stanley Cup in the last 3 decades.
Yeah, they don't know how to play hockey. So, I mean, there's that.
Now, I will say the tribalism in hockey is kind of dumb because I can go ahead and guess. In fact, let's play a little game. Lonzo, how many players on the Florida Panther roster this year? How many players are from Florida? Take a stab at it. Just from the state of Florida.
I'm going to go with 1.
Let's see. I'm over halfway down the roster, and the answer is 0. Not a Floridian on the roster.
I was close.
Okay? Not 1. Sweden, Finland, Canada, Maryland, Michigan, Canada, Finland, Minnesota, Canada, Connecticut, Canada, Sweden, Russia, Arizona. That's Matthew Tkachuk. Canada, LVA, Ventspils LVA. I'm going to assume that's Latvia.
I'm going to go with Latvia. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So it sounds like
it is Latvia. Bang, nailed it.
Sounds like Canada doesn't know how to recruit. Also,
not good at the recruiting.
Also, or it could be that Canada ain't as lovely as you say, and people are like, yeah, I got to get out of here. So
it's phenomenal.
Yeah, if you could live in Canada or Florida, I mean, you've lived in one. Where would you rather live?
I mean, Florida, but I'm a beach guy. I got to be by a beach.
You know, we're all beach guys. We all want to be beach guys, no matter where we're from.
No, I know.
There's a couple of crazies who really like the snow, but they're just not. They weren't.
I know mountain people.
Yeah,
I know. My mom is a mountain people. She would rather be in the mountains in the snow than on the beach drinking Mai Tais.
But isn't that one of those? Yeah, I'd like it there because it's not here type things.
I mean, I'm the disproof to that, right? I grew up on the beach. I go back today. In fact, I am going back this weekend, making time to go sit on the beach this weekend. So the tribalism's done, but also it's fun. Take that, Canada. I'm not your buddy guy. I'm not your guy, pal. I'm not your pal friend.
Canada. Blame yourself.
I have a dramatic problem with fans whose teams are playing for a championship who give their tickets up and allow them to fall into the hands of a rival. I got a massive problem with that. If I'm a player, is it not a wee bit disheartening to look up into the stands if you're a Florida Panther and see a third of your stadium pulling for the bad guys?
How do you really stop that? If you can't go and you want to sell your tickets, do you need to see a passport? I mean, what do you?
Well, the only way that I've seen anybody address it, and by the way, I'm not saying you do anything to stop it. Right? At the end of the day, if a guy wants to sell his tickets, if a guy wants to sell their tickets to not go to a game.
You keep talking about Game 7 being, the greatest thing of all time. And if you can make a profit off of it, you're probably going to sell it and you're not going to care who you sell it to.
See, that's the thing. I'll tell you right now, if I owned a season ticket and my team is playing at home on a Game 7, I will miss the birth of my first child to be there. Okay? I can have more kids. I can't guarantee more Game 7s.
Allegedly. So the thing is,
No, capabilities there.
that-
Desire is
well,
lacking.
I don't know. It's not my business. So anyway, you talked about tribalism. Isn't that kind of being tribalism, not wanting the other team to be in your building?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But see, as a Florida Panther fan, of which I would say I am a loose one in that they represent Florida and they carry the name of the state on the chest. Yeah, like you know, whatever. It's my team. It represents my state. I get to say Florida is the hockey state for the next 365. That's fun for me, okay? But also as a fan, it would kind of aggravate me, upset me a little bit if other so-called fans allowed their fans to come in and take away from the degree of difficulty that is escalated that we earned by having Game 7 take place in our house. I'm a little bummed out by that. Now, the only way I've seen teams try to fight that is there are a few teams that have kicked off a new practice in recent years of if you would like to buy tickets from them, you've got to have a local credit card address, right? Like you can't be from Edmonton and buy tickets off the team website with a credit card that is registered to Edmonton. You got to be a Floridian or in a surrounding state. And I think that's one thing. Again, not saying you can or even should stop selling, having people sell tickets. What I'm saying is be better, Panthers fans. Be better. Why? You have a chance to bring one of the most prestigious trophies in all of sports globally to reside at your house for the year, and you made it a little less difficult on Edmonton to pull that off. You made it a little less more difficult by allowing a third of the people in the building to be Edmonton fans. Could you imagine if Clemson hosts a playoff game in the first round this year, and let's say they bump up against Ohio State in round 1 and it's in Death Valley and you tune it on and 70% of the building is orange and 30% scarlet and gray? Woof. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, another live and we're back. Stay right there, please, and thank you. whatever we want next week.
Unless I act like the power.
I got the power.
Puff my chest out. Peacock strut down the hallway. You're gonna be gone 2 days next week. I mean, you know.
I am. Off Monday, in Tuesday, off Wednesday, in Thursday and Friday. Also, there's going to be.
I thought the 4th was on Thursday.
I thought it was Wednesday. I could be wrong. It is Thursday. You are correct.
So if the 1st is on Monday.
So in Tuesday, Wednesday, off Thursday, in Friday. I really should take that Friday off, but I can't. If this is a normal year, we're all taking Friday off, right?
Probably not me.
4-day weekend?
But it's not. You're still working Saturday. So am I.
That is true. The 26th off this is the Friday of ACC Media Week. So I'm off on Wednesday because of the Blink concert.
Yeah, me too.
Be in Thursday. Actually, I'll be in Charlotte Thursday. And then when that's over, I'll be off on Friday because Courtney and I that's the weekend we're going to go down to St. Augustine. And
Was that in thing?
no,
that
we
you
decided
sent
that
him?
literally yesterday.
Yeah, you need to let him know
Yep.
that. So.
Join us on the live stream, facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate, the Fan Upstate, or the Rob Brown Show on YouTube and the Rob Brown Show on Twitch. We are live all 4 hours.
Like you said, the Rob Around show.
Don't do that. It's against the law.
You did say that. I just, okay. I'm sorry.
You can watch the show
Who's
all
law?
4 hours, all 5 days of the week, at least the weeks that we are in here, all 5 weeks. Before we move on, couple of things to keep you abreast of. Let's start with, I really thought you were going to roll the Beavis and Butthead clip there, and it would have been very fair.
No, I was trying you said don't do that. And now I'm not.
I said what? Don't play Beavis and Butthead?
No,
I said don't
when
emphasize how dumb I am when I say dumb
okay,
words.
okay, you were really serious when you said that. So I was processing, and that's, I'm just like, okay.
Next Monday, I will be off. We will be off. Next Monday, I will be driving back up from a weekend in Florida. This Friday, we will have the show, but I will be broadcasting from Florida on Friday.
Glad you mentioned that because I already forgot.
Lonzo would have been panicking at 6:55 or 5:55. And where the hell is he? This Friday, I'll be broadcasting from Florida. But we will have a show. Next Monday, we'll not have a show as I will be driving back from a weekend with the family and the band. Friday night opening for Jefferson Starship, because why not? Right? Why not? Yesterday, somebody challenged me, great one, to go to a Jefferson Starship show doing Orange Cassidy cosplay. That's going to have to happen. I got to find a denim jacket.
He's back to using the other song now, but still.
That's okay.
He used that for a while. Why not?
Still going to do it.
It took me a second to register why you would do that. And it's like, oh, yeah. For Jane, I believe, was the song.
That is correct. So we'll have a show Friday. I will, and as far as
don't you
as
hope
of
they
now,
offer you to come on stage just so you can go Jane,
0% chance they know what I'm doing. I'm just some dork in a denim jacket.
You guys are opening for them.
Yeah, but
they're going to be out there watching.
We'll see.
You might be discovered.
Hey, Lonzo, I quit. Why? Because I'm now the third rhythm guitarist in Jefferson Starship, traveling the country playing elite events like the Destin Whiskey Festival. That'll be worth it.
Your sarcasm is unbelieved on this side. Because if you get offered, he's like, Mark, it's Jefferson Starship, dude. I gotta go. I gotta go.
Tell you what, when this tour, just hold the show until the tour is over. I'll be back. So we'll have a show Friday. As far as I am aware, we don't have any reason that the stream will not be up on Friday. It should be. We'll have Bet for the Cycle on Saturday. Be off on Monday. I am driving back. Then next Thursday, we are off for the 4th of July. So we will have shows Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday of next week. We'll also let you know that is official and confirmed. We will be returning to ACC Media Days. That is the last full week of July. That is July 22nd, 23rd, 24th, and 25th. We will have shows. This show will be live from ACC Media Days in Charlotte on Monday the 22nd. On Tuesday the 23rd, we will be off Wednesday the 24th, solely because Rob bought tickets to go see Creed a year ago and is not missing that, and was smart enough to know take the day off the next day.
By the way, if you are going to the Creed concert, come out and
Give Lonzo a big old hug.
hang out with Rob. Just ignore me.
Big
Just
old bro hug
just
for
pretend-
Lonzo.
You won't even notice me because there'll be a bunch of long-haired people like me just rocking out the Switchfoot and Creed.
Bunch of Florida men.
I still can't remember who the third band was.
Finger 11,
Yeah, it might be.
I think. Doesn't matter. We're all there to see Scott and the boys.
Well,
All right.
hopefully they're the in-between band, so I have time to go, stand in line to pee because I'm guessing there'll be a big line. I've never been to a rock concert that wasn't a Christian concert, and I've never been to one where there were three bands.
We're just broadening Lonzo's
So,
horizons.
so
out
I
here.
don't know. I don't know what lines are like for the. I'm guessing there. I've been there before. Last time I was there was for Weird Al. I don't count that as a rock concert. I count that as an
I do.
experience.
Man's
that
a
was-
legend.
That was an experience because he's got all genres.
I've never seen Weird Al. Kind of
It was-
disappointing.
It was amazing. Ask Chris about it too.
So we will be off on the 24th of July. And then on the 25th, we will be live in Charlotte again. That is the day that Clemson will have their media day. So we will be there live for that day. We will be broadcasting live Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Diesel and Cole with Wire to Wire, our afternoon co-parts, will be broadcasting live on on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
I just thought of something. Okay. Cole can reach volumes not quite your level, but he's up there compared to other people that are there at ACC Media Days.
ACC Karen?
Will ACC Karen come after Cole?
It's a great question. She did not come after me last year.
Yeah, but you if you recall,
They also had me way the hell
yeah.
away from the stage last year.
Yeah.
2 years ago, they put our table. So when you go, every station that's there has an assigned table. That is your table for the week. And it is yours to use for what you want when you want to use it. 2 years ago, our table was directly behind. I think it was one row over from the ACC network stage. And I learned that on show one. Now, at the time, were we in the 9 to noon slot? I think we were 9 to noon at that point. We were in that slot. They were going live from ACC Media Days, and my phone blew up from people that were like, yo, bro, you're on TV right now. And I realized, great, we're right there. And that was the second consecutive year that ACC Karen came over and was like, hey, man, we need you to not be you right now. We need you to take that volume level from 11 down to like 0.5, please, and thank you. And I did the best I could because, I didn't want to get blacklisted from the event. Showed up last year after 2 consecutive years of being the ballroom you do it in. It's not, well, it's actually a big lobby outside of the ballroom, but you go up the
there's
escalator.
an escalator right in the middle of it.
You go up the escalator. The escalator's kind of in the middle of the room. So when you go up the escalator to the top, they have a trophy display of the ACC title trophy, the Orange Bowl trophy. I think the last national championship was there last time we were up there. But you go up and then you get off the escalator and you walk either right or left around the edge of the escalator. And there's it's like a one person walk with hallway that goes from the end of the escalator around, and then it opens up to the big room. And that's where the ACC stage is. And that's where all the TV crews are set up with their studio or whatever. For the first 3 years that I attended media days in Charlotte, the first 3 they had us in that big open portion of the room, which is where the coaches and the players spend most of their time walking around. After my 3rd consecutive run-in with ACC Karen last year or 2 years ago, last year I arrived to find that our table had been moved over to the hallway next to the escalator. There were like 3 tables on either side. One of them was me, a cat out of Louisville who was also super loud, and a guy out of, I think, Tallahassee on our side that's also super. Like, clearly the 3 of us were like, oh, I get it. Which kind of stank because it resulted in anytime one of us were live, we all found ourselves overpowering each other. Not intentionally, it just happens. But I am very curious with us running 2 shows there this year, as we will be live again Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Cole and Diesel will be live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I am very curious as to our location this year. Are they going to put us back in the big room? Because they give priority to stations that are running more shows. If you're running 2 or 3 shows in a pod, they put you a little closer to the action. If you just do one show, like we did primarily last year, then they kind of stick you off to the side or back in that hallway. I am wondering with 2 shows if this is another year that we have some interaction with ACC carrying.
I almost regret not going because if we were to get into a debate like we do in the 6 o'clock hour quite often, think of how loud that would be there. Because you're already loud, but when you want to fight, when you want to go, you get a little bit louder.
When you want to go.
Yeah. And
you want to go, bro.
Yeah. You want to go, bro.
You want to go, bro.
Hey, bro. You want to go?
I'm looking forward to it.
Blow up, square up. Yeah.
So they have it off on Monday upcoming, from Florida Friday, off on Monday, and then July 22nd, 23rd, 24th, and 25th. We will be live as well, wire to wire, from ACC Media Days. The Rob Brown Show live on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Cole and Diesel live on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So there's your setup. There's your schedule.
You're not going to see me much for 2 weeks there because I'm on vacation like part of the 2 weeks before that. I'm not taking 2 weeks. I'm like taking a Thursday and Friday
you're taking
off.
2 weeks off?
No, I'm taking a Thursday and Friday off, and then on Monday, Tuesday, and
I was about to
Wednesday.
say, I need to get on the Lonzo compensation plan.
Come on, you know how many vacation days I have. But I'm staggering the vacation in order to make sure that work gets done around here because, I'm a company guy. That is the reason why I'm doing it.
Oh, man. All right. Coming up on the show as we roll through a couple of things I want to get to. Mike McCarthy is the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Reports are coming out of Dallas right now that he is, and I quote the article, fed up, end quote, with Gerald Jones, which, yeah. How could you not be? We'll talk about that later in the show. NFL Players Association is bracing for the push by the NFL to increase the size of the regular season up to 18 games. And interestingly enough, there is a split in the NFLPA of players that are fine with it and players that are not. We will address that coming up later in the show. We'll further break down the Stanley Cup as the Florida Panthers bring the cup back to the Sunshine State. We'll talk about that. More about the Charlotte City Council giving the old thumbs up to David Tepper for $600+ million in taxpayer money to renovate Bank of America Stadium. We'll get into the details of that later in the show. And a 2024 Carolina Panthers fantasy football projection was laid down by CBS Sports this week. Now, I will tell you all, I will talk fantasy football with you in season. I will give you fantasy football thoughts and advice. I do not play it anymore. And I don't play fantasy football because I'm too competitive and obsessive. That's all it comes down to.
No, not you.
I know.
No way.
I know. When it got to the point that I was spending more time setting 3 to 9 fantasy football rosters than I was actually working, I came to the conclusion that I should probably stop. So I did. But there is a reason I like talking fantasy football season previews. That reason is it can give you some insight on what the experts think teams are going to be able to do. That is going to be very, very interesting. So we'll talk about that fantasy football preview. Phil Steele His magazine came out late last week. We'll talk about some of the projections that he has for the Clemson Tiger football program. We talked a little bit about the Gamecocks yesterday and their season expectations. I got a few more after we got off the air yesterday. We'll talk about those. I got some baseball news to get to as the Braves dropped the opener of a set in St. Louis last night. We'll talk about that, maybe some soccer, maybe some golf. We're going to be busy, y'all. No shortage of stuff to get to today. Some of the most important things that we need to talk about are things that the sultry and, dare I say, seductive voice of Lonzo is going to tell you about right now in this Sports Flash.
Ain't got time for that. Your 2024 in NCAA baseball national champions are the Tennessee Volunteers after a 6-5 win over the Texas A&M Aggies. The Aggies trailed by 6-1 at the end of the 7th and attempted to rally, putting up 2 in the 8th and 9th, but the Volunteers were able to finish the comeback effort. The win gave Tennessee its first baseball national championship. And the Stanley Cup will make its way to the Sunshine State after Florida Panthers finished off the Edmonton Oilers 2-1 in Game 7. Carter Verhaeghe scored in the opening frame on a redirect from an Evan Rodriguez shot before Matthias Janmark scored a wrister to bring Edmonton even. In the second, Sam Reinhart scored on a 3-2 breakaway to give Florida the lead for good. And make sure you tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, a lot of fun, all Wire to Wire. You got time to play. The stories are too long. But I did it. So, I mean, there's that.
Yes, Thursday morning live from ACC Media Days. Because, Keegan, what's going to happen is I'm going to hit Cree Tuesday. I'm off on Wednesday, but I do still have to drive to Charlotte Wednesday night to go check back in.
Wednesday night after he sleeps all day. Wednesday.
Correct.
Yeah. I thought about going Thursday, but I changed my mind.
Why?
Because, all right, I'm going to be honest to everyone out there. I don't like the ACC. I know you ain't figured it out. I know you ain't figured it out yet, but I don't, if it was the SEC, I'd be there every single day.
I tried to talk him into sending us to Dallas.
Yeah, if it's that, I mean, I've never been on a plane. I might actually get on a plane for that because, yeah. But I appreciate that I was given the option to go. But, yeah, plus it's a whole lot of people like that you have to talk to and stuff.
Lonzo's the definition of I don't want to go. I just want to be asked to go.
That is part of it. The other thing is I had a really bad experience with somebody else, and that has that is.
I know, but I am a.
Yeah, but you also like forget I'm there when we go places, and so I'm there by myself, and I do not want to be there by myself. That's just what you do. I mean, I'm used to it now. It still hurts, but I mean, you go off and I turn around and you're gone and I'm there by myself with in a place where I don't want to be. So, and then someone might talk to me and I may have to talk back and, to be all awkward. Nobody wants that. Unless you're watching and think it's funny. And the real reason, Rob, is this.
They offered to send us.
I'm not going to complain about the fact that they're not paying for gas or parking or anything
Or
like that.
hotel room.
Yeah. So I'm not going to pay to go there. Sounds like you may have an addiction going on there, Shane. You might need to get that checked out.
I mean, it's not an addiction if you're winning.
Unless it's one of those leagues where you have to end up having to do something really embarrassing, afterwards, like get a tattoo or something like that. I mean, then.
Do you know who's going to be in Destin this weekend? Hating Ass Mario.
Good for you.
I get to meet Hating Ass Mario in person.
I bet he's shorter than what you think.
I don't think you know how short I think he is.
Well, there's Stoneman height, and then there's,
Ballpark. The Rob Brown Show carries on. It's the Fan Upstate. Robin Lonzo. Happy Tuesday, my dudes and my dudettes. Wonderful to have you along for the ride. The foremost electrifying hours in sports talk entertainment.
There's a 4 in there somewhere. I don't know. Yeah.
There sure is. Let's go back very briefly to this JJ Redick thing. Yep. Let's go back to this JJ Redick thing for just a minute. Wait, dadgummit, I forgot. I always forget that I have the thing.
They don't know that you forgot. You could have let the music go and no one would have noticed.
Yes! Yes!
Nope.
Yes!
Nope.
Yes!
Nope.
Let's go back to this JJ Redick thing for just a few moments. JJ Redick gets hired as the head coach of the Lakers. Stick with me. This is not a Lakers segment. Okay? It's a sports segment as a whole. JJ Redick got hired. JJ Redick goes to the podium yesterday in his press conference, and JJ Redick says this.
What misconceptions or concerns about you that you've heard in the last few weeks are you the most looking forward to dispelling when you're the coach?
It's a valid question, and I've certainly heard everything. It's been a really interesting 6 weeks or so. Just in terms of, being part of the engagement farming industry, it's been really interesting. However, I don't really have a great answer for your question because I really don't give a honestly. I want to coach the Lakers. I want to coach the team. I don't want to dispel anything. I don't. I want to become a great coach in the NBA, and I want to win championships. And I want my players to maximize their careers. That's all I care about.
The minor detail is I absolutely love the term engagement farming industry. That's so good. And, props to JJ for acknowledging that that's what his podcast is.
What does that mean?
Getting attention for money. Which, so are we. Definitely. I just find that there is a preferred way to do it for me, which is not hot take radio. It's never been my bag. And for a lot of people, it is. Okay. Now, that's not what I care about. What I care about is the effort that the Lakers are going through here. What I care about is that the Lakers are doing something different, right? They're not just bringing in another one of the retread coaches. They're not going to get a guy that they tried with, LeBron's worked with in the past. They didn't go get a guy that was just going to be, and I'm not saying JJ Redick isn't going to be a LeBron pushover. He might very well be a LeBron pushover. Hell, they might have gotten him because he's a LeBron pushover. I don't know if that's the case or not. What I do know is, regardless of their reasoning, they're trying something different. They're trying something new. Does JJ Redick have experience? No. Does that mean that every person without experience is going to fail? No. I got news for you. I got this gig. I had zero experience in radio. Not a day. But I walked in.
Not this
job.
Yeah, not this job.
Industry.
Yeah. Okay.
My first radio gig was on the air 24 hours after I opened the door, lied about having an appointment with the owner of the company, opened the door, walked in, told him that I was there for the interview, an interview I did not have scheduled, but just told him I was there for the interview. He said, "What interview?" I said, to get hired on air, because I didn't know what to say. Because and this is true, kids, listen to Uncle Rob, but sometimes don't. I lied about having a meeting with the owner. I lied about having an interview appointment with him. We talked for half an hour, and he goes, "You know what? I know what it was for. It was for our open producer position, wasn't it?" And I went, "Yeah, that was it." Again, lying. And I got it, right? Had no experience. Well, here I am 17 years later.
Deceit rarely pays off, kids. So yeah, don't listen to it.
Yeah, but when it does, it's a dope story. It's a great story. I'll tell the story one day about how I got into this full time, but that's the nuts and bolts of it. Okay. Now,
I'm not supposed to be here either. I went to recording school after every place that I worked at went out of business. Not just, don't come back here. It's like the building shut down and was sold or demolished, and went to recording school. It covered radio for like a half hour. So, and here I am nearly 30 years later. So, I mean,
lie is our point, kids. Lie to get a job is our point.
I did.
So they go with JJ Redick, and obviously the detractors of the decision have said, "Oh, he's got no experience. He doesn't know what it's like to be a head coach." And these are all obviously true things. I don't care. I have made the argument. I have made the point already. You got Braun for 2 more years maximum. Maximum, you got 2 years. Likely 1, maybe 2.
So you're saying that they're looking at this as a 2-year hire, or are you looking at this guy to be your future and to be able to build a team after LeBron?
I'm saying you're looking at it as an experiment. The team is established right now. It's not as good as it's going to need to be. D'Lo's got to go. They're going to need to be real good in the draft with number 17. I'll say right now, drafting Bronny James is a mistake for the Lakers. They're the most likely, I think, team to do it in the first round, but it would be a massive mistake to draft LeBron Jr. He ain't ready. He ain't that guy yet, and they got to find that guy. What I'm saying is, JJ is an experiment. JJ is an experiment that syncs up with the end of the LeBron James era. That's it. It syncs up with the end of LeBron James. If JJ Redick and LeBron James are able to guide the Lakers to some level of success, once again, like we've been talking about with Clemson and South Carolina, every person is going to have a different definition of success. But if they are able to guide the Lakers to some form of success, and then LeBron goes away, he retires, or he decides he wants to go play 1 more year in C-Town or whatever it's going to be, well, now you've got a guy who's been locked in for a couple of years. He's got a guy that has been there through the transition. And if JJ Redick does not work out, well, you got to blow the whole damn thing up anyway, so you might as well blow up every aspect of it. You might as well blow up the head coaching position as well. What I'm interested in is what is the philosophical, if any, philosophical change in sports if JJ Redick is a success, right? Because, and it doesn't matter if you're talking NFL or MLB or NHL or MLS or whatever. Teams historically have been reluctant to bring in coaches that do not have head coaching experience. So, I mean, they've always got to get a first job. Cleveland just hired one of the Golden State assistant coaches who has never been a head coach. The difference, obviously, that JJ Redick has never been in the league as a coach. And I'm not saying that that's preferential over a guy, let's say, similar to J.J. Redick. Similar to J.J. Redick in age, similar in J.J. Redick to culture, similar with J.J. Redick to relationships with players in the league that you can utilize and build off of. I'm saying if everything else was the same, would I have preferred J.J. Redick have been in a coaching tree for a little while? Yeah, probably, if we're keeping it a buck. But here's the thing. Like I said, Rob Brown had never been in radio. Then Rob Brown got a producer's position that he lied to acquire. And it turned out I was pretty good at it. At least I think so. I'm still here 17 years later and a number of jumps up in market, and I'm still here.
It's not like you're nominated for an award or anything, though.
3 of them. 2 of them, Lonzo got me nominated for. 1 of them I did. Point here is, just because someone doesn't have experience doesn't mean they're not going to get it. Will there be a learning curve? Probably. Probably a learning curve for J.J. Redick. But I will say this. J.J. Redick yesterday said a lot of things in his press conference, along with, I really don't give a. He also talked about, in what I think was, to be honest, a moment that could have been too big for him. I would have been concerned if JJ would have shown all the signs of a coach who knew maybe they were in over their head a little bit. But JJ Redick was calm. He was cool. He was collected. He wasn't just answering questions. He was giving good answers. He was talking about the need for LeBron James to be included in the offense. He was talking about specifics of the offense. Pointed out that is, in his opinion, one of the failures for LA last year, especially when you look at teams like Boston, who made the NBA Finals, like Dallas, who made the NBA Finals, like the Knicks, who, if they weren't banged up like a mash unit, maybe would have been the team to take down Beantown. The NBA has moved over the past couple of years, and it's a pendulum. It's going to swing one way, then it's going to swing back the other. But the NBA the last couple of years has begun to, not intentionally, but has begun to reward teams that are better three-point shooting teams and high-quantity three-point shooting teams. Boston had, I think, 5 or 6 playoff games where they lifted over 40 three-point shots in a single game. Over 40 three-point shots in a game. That, for most teams, is going to be slightly less than half of your total possessions. The Lakers were putting up like 20, right? Which is not a bad number if you're a bad three-point shooting team, but they weren't a bad three-point shooting team. J.J. Redick came in the first 10 minutes of his presser, said, look, I need us to shoot more threes. I need LeBron lifting more threes. But then when they asked about that, and they said, wait a minute, coach, what about AD? He went on to say that Anthony Davis is the, quote, hub, end quote, of the Lakers of tact. He talked about how Rui Hachimura is an asset, is a weapon off of the bench, but you've got to create for Hachimura. Hachimura is not a creator. And I think recognizing those things, diagnosing those things, talking about those things, emphasizing those things, the guys that will be on the Laker roster next year, they heard it, they saw it, they felt it, they understood it, they took those things into play, and now they are prepared during the offseason to work on those things. What I think you've got here is a coach who understands most people don't think he deserves to be there. Hell, there may be some players on his team that don't think he deserves to be there. Well, I'll tell you this. I don't know about all of y'all. But for me, and I can even say, I think for Lonzo, you tell one of us we ain't supposed to be somewhere doing something, all it does is make me want to be there and do it more. All right? And as long as it's a legal thing, it's pretty universally true for me. If you tell me you're not qualified or capable of doing that thing, I don't care how many YouTube videos I got to watch. I'm going to figure it out. I got told not terribly long ago when the lady friend and I were filling out envelopes to send out the wedding invitations. And I said, hand me a pen. I'll help you figure it out. And she said, I love you. Don't take it the wrong way. Your handwriting isn't what I need it to be for these. And she's right. I got the handwriting of a drunk doctor. All right. It's bad. You know what I did? I went in the back room. I sat there and I watched, and I mean this, about 45 minutes of calligraphy videos so that I would be qualified. I went back out. I grabbed an envelope. I wrote our name down in my new calligraphy handwriting. And she went, oh, okay. And I got the permission, the ability, the raw joy of writing people's names down on envelopes. Tell me I can't do a thing. I'm going to figure it out. I kind of think that's the vibe I'm getting from JJ Redick right now. I think he's tired of it. It has been 4 weeks of people saying hiring this guy is a clown move. Hiring this guy is a ridiculous move. It's a silly move. It is a move that will, to quote a texter from earlier in the show, will, quote, fail spectacularly. The thing is, you might be right. I may be crazy. But JJ just might be the lunatic they're looking for. I think that by going outside of the box, I think that by getting somebody that is not tainted by experiences of years gone by getting somebody who is not going to feel compelled to emulate somebody else, to copy somebody else, to do the things that somebody else did, to bring in a cat that has absolutely no presuppositions about how this job works. To bring in a guy that can communicate with players on a level that is closer than most of the other candidates that were available, and to bring in somebody who wants to be there, I like the experiment. Because how many more times do we need to see Doc Rivers or Dennis Allen or whoever else continue to fail and set franchises back for years? My whole take is this. I will be watching the JJ Redick saga with heightened excitement because I genuinely believe that if this experiment works out, and if the Lakers have really figured something out here, and if the Lakers have put something together that works, you may very well see a change in the way that professional franchises in the future operate when they are trying to find their guy. And I'm really intrigued by it because a lot of teams have made a lot of bad decisions in years gone by because, well, he's got experience. We'll see if the Lakers change the game or not. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
New life.
All right, guys, one more live when we're back. Stay right there for me, please, and thank you. The Rob Brown Show continues. It's the Fan Upstate. Robin Lonzo with you. There has long been a discussion ongoing about the potential for the National Football League to switch to an 18-game regular season. Of course, it was 16 forever, and then it shifted to the 17. There was a lot of pushback against that. The NFL has been wanting to expand to 18 games for a very long time. You will recall that the 17-game regular season was actually a compromise between the NFL and the NFLPA. It was part of what ended the last collective bargaining agreement standoff. Was the NFL wanted 18. The Players Association wanted to leave it at 16. And as a handshake good faith agreement, both parties decided, let's just meet in the middle. I'll start walking your way. You start walking mine. 17 games ended up being the arrangement. Now, the NFL is still pushing for that 18th game. And again, in case you ever wonder why, pop quiz time, great one. What's the reason that every decision in sports administration gets made?
See, I hate when you do these questions because I'm always on the edge of making a mistake. So I'm just going to go with money.
Yes! That is correct. That is correct. More games, more money for the NFL. That's the whole game, ladies and gentlemen. It's nothing deeper than that. If you ever want to know why an administration makes a decision, 99.999999999% of the time, it's because it gets some more money. Well, Pro Football Talk is reporting that, quote, per a source with knowledge of the situation, the NFL Players Association is already bracing for an 18-game schedule. And one of the things the NFLPA has to ponder is whether and to what extent the players want it. Florio and Pro Football Talk say that younger players seem to be fine with an 18-game schedule. Their votes count the same as older players, and older players are not on board. They go on to say that although comments from the commissioner in late April boosted the conversation, the truth is that the issue returned to the front burner when Browns GM Andrew Berry explained on PFT Live from the scouting combine that Cleveland had proposed a 2-week delay in the trade deadline to account for the 17th regular game and in anticipation of an 18th game being added to the schedule. After the chatter resurfaced in late February, new union president Jalen Reeves-Maben didn't dismiss the possibility when asked about it, saying simply that, quote, when the time comes up, we'll address it. Well, an item posted Thursday on ESPN by reporter Brooke Pryor gathers quotes from various players as to the possibility of adding another regular season game. A number of players like Colts center Ryan Kelly, who was quoted, spoke out against it, whereas Steelers safety DeMonte Casey said he was a little bit more pragmatic. He said, quote, it can be positive for both sides. People look at it as another week to feed your family. I love it, end quote. I don't really have a side one way or the other on this, to be honest. Like, I'm never going to argue for less football. I also understand as a baseball fan that there's a saturation point. However, I don't think 18 games is the saturation point for the NFL. I don't think that NFL fans are going to say, no, I'm good with 17. I think we're good. I'll tell you what I think is going to end up happening here. I think there's a couple of things that are going to come out of the play. Lester on the stream beat me to the first one, which is there's going to be another bye week that is going to get added. Every team was going to end up with 2 bye weeks.
So does this extend the season even further?
No, I don't think it. I don't think it has to. Well, yes, by one, instead of adding 1 more week, you would have to add 2 more weeks to the regular season, 1 to account for every team's 18th game and 1 to account for a second bye week, which is something I think the PA will push for.
So we push the Super Bowl back even further into February?
Yeah, pretty much. I do not think you will get an expanded playoff. So I think the playoff format is going to stay the same. You're going to have the 1 team with the bye. Then you're going to have your 3 other conference winners taking on 3 wild card teams. And I think the structure of the playoffs will remain the same. So, yeah, the Super Bowl will get pushed a little bit later in February. Here's the thing. Outside of college basketball's conference season, there's nothing that the NFL is competing with there, right? Like the NBA regular season. But there's nothing else outside of the NBA's regular season you're competing with. And let's call it a spade here. It doesn't compete with the NBA's games. It dominates it, right? Like the NBA is already reeling right now because the NFL has added Christmas Day games to the roster this year. Lonzo's Chiefs take on CJ Stroud and the Texans on Christmas Day this year. It is the middle of the week, and they are doing it. I'm going to go ahead and call the shot now. Great one. There will be more NFL fans streaming that Kansas City-Houston game than cable fans will tune in to watch the Lakers play whoever the Lakers get lined up against on Christmas Day this year.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably accurate.
Yeah, I don't think I'm rattling any cages pointing that out. And that's from an NBA fan. That's from a fan of the association. It is not a competition. Anybody who says competition, it's not a competition. The NFL is going to dominate the NBA. You could put the NFL's regular season up against the damn NBA finals, and it would dominate.
Do you know anybody who are basketball alone as far as NBA fans alone and not a fan of football? Because it seems to me there's a lot of crossover, and the choice is going to be football over basketball.
Sure. I don't disagree. I am a basketball guy, all right? Here's the blasphemy of Rob Brown. I'm a basketball first guy. I love basketball. It's my favorite sport. I also understand that football's king, not just here, almost exclusively nationwide. Football is king. I make no bones about that. That is not a question. That is a statement. So football can do whatever the hell it wants. It's going to be fine. The NFL can do whatever it wants. Football is going to be fine. My question mark for this one is, what is the NFL going to have to give up in order to get that last game, right? This is all going to be give and take. The PA is going to push back against the 18-game schedule, not because they are consensus against it. PFT is reporting right now that there is a at least recognizable number of young players who don't seem to care. And if that's the case, then you got to grab it now before that becomes the overwhelming sentimentality of the entire association, of the entire league. You've got to get it now while the big power players at the table, the older players, the established vets at the table are still on your side. Because once they continue to age out of the league and this new generation of player starts to pop up and go, yeah, no, we're dogs, give it to us, let us eat. Once they start to take over, you kind of lose your leverage there. So my only question is, what is the NFL going to have to give up to get that 18th game? They want it. It expands the TV contracts, as we are seeing in college football and we'll be talking about coming up in the next segment. More games, more eyeballs, more advertising, bigger television contracts. That's just how it works. That's all it is. So what will they have to give up? I think you are going to end up getting a second bye added to the regular season for teams. I also think you will probably see some level of team control that is added regarding travel, back-to-back roadies, et cetera, or I should say back-to-back roadies, et cetera. I think you will see a leveling out of the schedule at the behest of the NFL teams in response to the owners wanting this 18 game. I'm intrigued to see how this plays out. We'll keep you up to date as these reports start to come in. By the way, Pro Football Talk says that as of right now, they are working on the assumption that the earliest we would see an 18th game added to the schedule could be, Lonzo, around 2030, because that is the next year that is going to be a new set of TV contracts for the NFL. They're all locked in for like a while, so that's pretty interesting. The question is that 18th game valuable enough that they would pull the current contracts, pay off whatever they got to pay off, to immediately turn around and renegotiate them with an 18th game involved? We'll find out. When we come back, is a new governance structure on the horizon that could officially kill the concept of D1 football. It's weird, I know. Stick with me. The Rob Brown Show. It's the Fan Upstate.
Bet I could trim that.
I wonder if you could shift. I wonder if you shift opening day up a week, right? Shift opening day up a week and the playoffs back a week.
I don't think that would be a problem. It's not really competing with anything.
It's really not. The only risk you run is bumping the Super Bowl into March, and then you're up against the tournament, which is maybe the one thing that would actually give you competition. I still don't think the March Madness tournament, even one day, is going to go head-to-head with the Super Bowl.
I acknowledge you, Mac.
Put the ones up.
Oh.
The Cordell and Cordell construction cam shows southbound 85 stalling at the 101, northbound 85 stacking up at Goodwood Road before I-385. The backup is at least 4 miles in both directions, with traffic moving about 25 miles an hour. From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center, I'm Bill Brooks on the Fan Upstate.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
I have one of those big trash cans, with the wheels and stuff.
Yeah.
Something keeps turning it over. And I'm concerned because I don't think the raccoons or the possums can do that unless there's like 5
Raccoons
of them.
can. They're smart.
Yeah, but I mean, they just open the lid and
Especially
go.
if you got a fat raccoon.
Yeah, but they just open the lid and go inside.
No, I've seen it before. They'll get inside, but then because of the fact that they can't get back out because the walls are slippery, they'll start banging into the walls until it falls over.
I'm worried it's I got you, Matt.
Could be a bear.
That's what I'm worried about, it being a bear. Yes.
Absolutely could be a bear.
Yeah, that's a concern.
But if it's a bear, it's a black bear, and you got nothing to worry about.
Yeah, okay, whatever. It's still a bear. I ain't never been around no bear, and I don't want to know.
You have been. I guarantee you've been around a bear. You just didn't know it.
I am unaware
there it is.
Of being around a bear. I do hear noises, and I move very quickly. Like this morning, when I heard something crashing, which is probably just deer, but I don't know. It's really hard to get into my car fast. So I'm just saying.
As long as it just kind of turns around and falls.
Today I did. It's like it might catch my legs, but most of me is getting in the car. I'm going to go with bear because I'm going to think worst case scenario. I'm not going to think it's a fat raccoon, even though I've seen them.
Fat raccoon.
I've seen some really fat possum too. So. Or it could be a trap set up by the ninja squirrels, waiting for me to turn the thing back over. And then suddenly I am no more. I know that, Mac. Thank you. That's my concern.
Hide your kids, hide your wife. Bear eating everybody up in here.
I know there are more bear sightings. I guess I technically don't live in the upstate, but still, I do live in the woods with other connecting woods around where bear could travel without being seen. Or maybe it's that donkey from yesterday. What was his name, Rob?
Dominic the donkey.
Okay, yeah.
La, 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 la.
You've already forgot it. Good.
I did. Don't mean I won't listen to it again. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It's the Fan Upstate. Ross Dellinger has an article up on yahoosports.com that I find interesting. I want to open it by reading to you the picture that Ross did an excellent job painting with words. That's the job of us words, guys. Dellinger wrote this. This is the opening few lines of this article. Quote, inside the beachside Ritz-Carlton Resort along Florida's southwestern coast, leaders of college athletics met in a second-floor conference room to discuss particulars about the industry's future. Those in the room were limited to 5 men, NCAA President Charlie Baker, and commissioners from the SEC, Big 12, ACC, and Big 10. Not in the room, the other 28 Division I commissioners who milled about on the first floor of the resort, wondering the whereabouts of the other 4. One said, I didn't even know they were meeting. Whispered another, of course, they're cutting us out of it. End quote. Now, I make jokes about it because sarcasm is my love language. But, yeah, this is kind of, it's not a conspiracy, dude. It's not a conspiracy. As I have told you all, there is one inevitable outcome here. The inevitable outcome is that the power conferences, of which today there are 4, I cannot guarantee that much longer. The ACC, the Big 10, the SEC, and the Geico 12. They, at this meeting, according to the picture that Ross Dellinger has painted here, the commissioners' meetings are taking place in Florida right now. At the Ritz. Of course, it's at the Ritz. How can we afford to pay these athletes? Maybe stop putting up 1,000 people at the Ritz, Charlie. Maybe there's your start, bud.
I'm just hearing Frankenstein singing Putting on the Ritz, but, you know.
Putting on the Ritz. That's God, Mel Brooks the best. The best. So, my sarcasm aside, because I have no off switch. Instead, let's talk about what happened here. There are meetings set up for all of the conference commissioners, 32 of them, all in total. And at least one point during the meeting, Charlie Baker decided that it was appropriate to call the commissioners of the ACC, the SEC, the Big 10, and the GameStop 12 away from the rest of the meetings to go have a little sidebar. Go have a little conversation. Why don't you fellas come on up? I got the good whiskey on ice upstairs. Let's have us a little family gathering, shall we? Let's have a talk. Let's have a little get together. And the rest of the conference commissioners that are there, according to Ross Dellinger, had no idea that that was happening. Legitimately, we're like, okay, meetings. Where's Charlie? Where's Tony? Where's Tony Petiti? Tony Petiti's supposed to be down here. Where's Tony?
It's a different conference.
Tony Petiti.
Who would be leading the thing?
I don't know. Greg Sankey might have some stuff to say about that.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, he's a figurehead.
All sitting under the Don, Charlie Baker. At least for now. At least for now. We'll see. So, there is a meeting going on that has all of the lower conferences and basketball only schools, et cetera, that are all there. They are all now looking out and going, wait a minute here. Wait a minute. The writing is on the metaphorical wall, is it not?
So this would be akin to if we had a station meeting and Diesel wasn't involved. It was me, you, and Cole.
Yeah, you know, the big swingers,
Yeah,
so to speak.
And he's going, okay, why wasn't I invited to that meeting?
You know what it is?
I could have used me as the example, but that's probably wouldn't be as unusual as Diesel being left out. So, you know.
It is the equivalent of when you and I finish shows and we walk down the hall, we don't find anybody, and then we get told all the managers are behind closed doors. It's like, oh,
Then the
never once has that door
speculation-
open, and they come out and go, everybody's getting a raise. You get a raise. You get a raise. You get a raise. Everybody gets a raise.
or that fear you feel when you see the email that says mandatory meeting, everyone is expected.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Very rarely does something awesome come out of those. It's just rare, okay? And that's not just us saying that here. I mean, that's for everybody who works for a company that has email. That's just kind of how it goes. So there's a bit of a boiling point that we are approaching when it comes to college ball. Dellinger writes that as of right now, the Power 5 conferences are paying about 23% total of the back pay from the antitrust lawsuits the NCAA lost not too long ago. The NCAA national office is footing about 42% of the bill. The confounding part, Dellinger writes, many commissioners say, is that about 95% of the $2.77 billion in back pay is intended to be distributed to power conference athletes. One commissioner said, Tom Wistrcill, Wistrcill.
Works for me.
Tom Worcestershire, commissioner of the Big Sky Conference, said, quote, I am looking at a 10% operating budget cut so that money can go to their former student athletes. In the system we've created, some schools and conferences are doing really, really well. Good for them, but some are struggling.
Hey, Rob, what's the Big Sky Conference?
That's where Montaigne plays.
Ah, okay.
Joe Montaigne was a quarterback, you idiot.
The people who weren't invited to this meeting of those other, what can they do?
The bigwigs?
Yeah, what can they do?
Well, that's the big question here. Is it, so for years, we have talked about whether or not the SEC, the Big 12, the ACC, and the Olive Garden 12, I'm just going to go different company every time.
You left out the Big 10. I'm just.
I thought I led with the Big 10, didn't I?
I don't think
the Big 10, the SEC, the ACC, and the Carabas 12. At some point, we're going to split away.
Does Carabas even still exist?
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah, there's one in Pensacola.
There used to be one up the road. I don't think it's there anymore.
Carabas is fine. I'm going to tell you right now, and I say this with all due respect and love to the Olive Garden. Thank you for the breadsticks. All right. When you go unlimited soup and salad, Rob Brown's a big fan. But, dude, if you want Italian, go to whatever town you're in. They have a little local Italian joint that still has the red and white checkerboard tablecloths, right? And the candles that are made out of old olive oil containers. And there's a guy back there in the back named Giuseppe that makes the pasta every day. And it is unbleeping touchable, man. There is no world where you can't find in any small town in America a little rinky-dink back of a strip mall Italian joint that is going to make the best chicken parmigiana you've ever put in your stupid face. You can't do it.
Yeah, they don't have one of those in Gray Court. but they do.
I
in
guarantee you
other
they
places.
do.
No,
You just haven't found it.
Rob.
I guarantee they do.
No, they don't.
There's a little Italian dude named Luigi back there cooking up some minestrone that'll change your life.
This is one where I would bet my whole paycheck on,
Okay.
because I know how small the strip is that has like 2 restaurants owned by the same guy.
Doing the research during the break.
Okay, are you?
Yeah. If not, there's one right over here.
Well, yeah, I know that.
Ooh.
Yeah, but that's not. You said an all little town. I was just trying to, yeah.
Magnifique, huh?
Yeah, I can't go there now because you've built that place up, and I don't want to go there. And if I have a bad experience, it would.
You won't.
Yeah, I don't want
You
to do
won't?
that.
You won't. It's great. I've
Plus,
been there twice.
you made me feel underdressed.
Oh,
so I don't wanna- yeah.
definitely don't go in there being disrespectful. Do not show any disrespect. Anyway, the chief worry for the small conferences is that their already slim piece of the pie from the NCAA is shrinking, and there are commissioners that have told Dellinger they're afraid that it is ultimately going to disappear. He writes that the chief worry is over the NCAA men's basketball tournament, which is the association and the other 28. Their primary source of revenue and the one event that truly binds all D1 institutions. While football cash keeps afloat the power leagues, March Madness is the financial lifeblood for the other 28, as well as their national relevance. Already access is in the crosshairs. The tournament is soon to expand. We talked about this a little bit last week, and the championship schools, the power schools, are already trying to pave the way that the expanded tournament would effectively only unlock spots for power conference schools, for more of their schools to get in, which would make it even more difficult for the other 28 schools to make any money in this spot. Dellinger goes on to say the new governance structure, as well as the NCAA tournament expansion models, are expected to be further explored this week by members of the D1 Council, one of the NCAA's most powerful decision-making boards that includes representatives from each D1 league, a group that perhaps is in line for a dramatic change under the new governance system. Imagine a power conference council of just members from the SEC, Big 12, ACC, and Big 10, for instance. Already, the 4 leagues are working in tandem over the particulars of the settlement, while in Naples, Commissioner Tony Petitti, Jim Phillips, Brent Yormack, and Greg Sankey met to begin the process of finalizing new football roster limits, a hot-button topic that is part of the new model. No decisions were made, but they inch closer to a roster limit that will likely be more than 85, but less than the traditional 120 players that teams now carry. Not in that meeting, of course, were the other 28. This is a far-blown conclusion. This is way off the beaten path. We've been asking for years now, when is it that inevitably the SEC, ACC, Big 10, and QT12 are going to split from the NCAA and form their own thing? And now I'm wondering a little bit if the other 28 don't do that instead. If the other 28 go, you know what? You guys are screwing us. You guys aren't letting us in. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make our own thing. We're going to play football under our own banner. We're going to take our broadcast revenue elsewhere. We will all find our little local channels to get paid by. We will run our own March Madness tournament for everybody that's not in the Big Four.
So the Sith have truly revealed themselves.
I don't know that there's a Sith here.
Before there were backdoor meetings that no one knew about, and now it's like
now it's just happening.
Now it's just out there.
Yeah. Now they put 2 bouncers that are indie wrestlers from other promotions at the base of the escalator. And when Tony Petitti and Yormack and Phillips and Sankey go upstairs into the special meeting room alongside with Charlie Baker, the indie wrestlers throw up the tough guy arms across the chest and say, hey, other 28 commissioners, y'all ain't bleep. You don't get to go upstairs. That's where the good liquor is. You don't get to go up there. You stay down here and drink the well booze, you peons.
Yeah, up until this point, it's been kind of speculation, but now it's like, hey, this is what we're doing. You're not invited. Everyone who thought we were doing this, hey, guess what?
You were right.
We are. We're doing it.
Yep. This is these meetings are developing, and they are very, 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 very interesting right now. We'll keep an eye on this as these meetings progress down in Naples, Florida. Speaking of Florida, you know who's in Florida? The Florida Panthers, Stanley Cup champions, best hockey team on planet Earth. Now, the Sports Flash version of the Florida Panthers. Lonzo.
That's two. Wow, that's rough. Stanley Cup will make its way to the Sunshine State after the Florida Panthers finished off the Edmonton Oilers 2-1 in Game 7. Carter Verhaeghe scored in the opening frame on a redirect from an Evan Rodriguez shot before Matthias Janmark scored a wrister to bring Edmonton even in the second. Sam Reinhart scored on a 3-2 breakaway to give Florida the lead for good. Your 2024 NCAA baseball national champions are the Tennessee Volunteers after a 6-5 win over the Texas A&M Aggies. The Aggies trailed by 6-1 at the end of the seventh and attempted to rally, putting up 2 in the eighth and ninth, but the Volunteers were able to finish comeback effort. The win gave Tennessee its first baseball national championship. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, a lot of fun. It's all Wire to Wire. By the way, Mac, you're absolutely right. I love that place. That is, my wife discovered it because she works over near there, and we've been there a bunch of times. Their lasagna is killer.
QC Kinetics advanced treatments harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue so you can walk and run and hike and play golf.
I always feel underdressed there because it looks like, there are like meetings going on.
To reclaim their mobility. So stop putting it off. Take action now. Live your best life again. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. They're at 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772 in Greenville and Asheville. 864-448-3772. Hey, this is Diesel from Magazine.
No, in all honesty, it's I need to rewrite them, and I can't rewrite the hockey ones because I don't know everything that Rob is talking about. I mean, I have an idea, but like a wrister, I don't say wrister, but I don't know what I should put in there. I don't have an equivalent because I don't follow the sport like I should. So that's why I've struggled the last couple of days because of the particular sport. It's the same with soccer. If I'm not real knowledgeable of the sport, I mean, I know the sports. I understand how they're played and everything. I just don't know the verbiage as much.
What did you not read? Or what?
I just
did you say 0-0?
Oh no, I cut that out. I already cut that out. I mean, I know the equivalent of that is 0. So I mean, you write the way you write. If I can't fix it, that's on me. But I try to make it as comfortable as I can for me for as much as I'm trying to squeeze into that very little window, which is done on purpose to make me struggle, by the way. That's my opinion. But
I was going like 20 seconds over when you were out. What's it, Mac? What's the place on? I'm sure you already talked about it, but what's the place on Haywood?
It's not on Haywood. It's back behind it. It's on Congaree, and I forget his name, and I've been there a bunch. That's what we were talking about. I love the place. I mean, lasagna,
I need to
dude,
know.
lasagna portions like this, and it is so good. So much better than the other place you were talking about. It's very, very good.
You have no idea if that's true or not.
No. First of all, you were talking about Olive Garden, and I didn't.
Oh,
That's what
gotcha.
I wasn't going to diss Olive Garden. And I've had Carrabba's before. I think it's comparable, maybe better than Carrabba's. But Carrabba's was a little pricey. I only went there like twice for client things, and that was it. Back when people used to
Carrabba's
understand
is
my
Italian
worth.
for people who haven't been to a good Italian people place. It's fine. Bum, 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 bum.
Portofino's, that's it.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Mac. I can't remember anything anymore. That's where Lisa wants to go for her birthday every year. I'm sure your wife's spaghetti is amazing, though. You probably shouldn't compare it.
Vomit on his sweater already. Mom spaghetti. The Italian joint in Epcot at Disney World is maybe the best food I've ever had.
You guys are just all rich. That's it. Stinking 1% elitists.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob the Great Malonzo with you here on a BEA beautiful Upstate Tuesday morning, but wherever you may be listening around the world, because you, of course, all have the Odyssey app on your phone, don't you? Right? AUDACY. Grab the app, open it, search the Fan Upstate, click the little heart icon, and when you do, you can go to the station for live at any point, anywhere that you want to. It really is that simple. You go jump on board, you grab the Odyssey app, you search and subscribe to the Fan Upstate, and you can listen to the show live. You can listen to the station live. Any of the incredible stuff that we have going on. It really is that simple. And on top of all of that, you can go back and listen. Look, here it is right here on for those of you on the stream. There you go. The chapters are up there. That's where you can go back and listen to stuff that we talked about in segments gone by. You can get yourself fully caught up with the show. And OBT Dubs, if that's not good enough for you, if you are so demanding that on demand just isn't on demand enough, well, you can go back on any given day after the show's stellar conclusion. You can go to thefanupstate.com. Go to thefanupstate.com, and in the middle of the page, there's a little button that says podcast. Hover your mouse over that button. There's going to be a little drop-down menu. On that drop-down menu, you will see the name of the two shows, both Wire number 2, Wire with Cole and Diesel, and the Rob Brown Show. You click on your show of choice, and every hour, along with highlight segments, are posted right there for you so that you can go back and listen at your leisure. We make it that simple for you, ladies and gentlemen. You are just very, very welcome. All right, got a few more things that we need to get into on this radio broadcast. I teased this earlier in the show, and you know what? Screw it. I don't care. Let's do it. I found a list earlier today, a list of movie bad guys who deserved a second chance. Now, here are some of the names that are on the list. And basically, this is bad guys who either weren't bad guys, even though they are called bad guys. But let's be real, plenty of bad guys who you're like, that's not really a bad guy. Plenty of bad guys that you look at and you go, did they really do anything wrong? And plenty of bad guys that you go, good guy, bad execution, right? That's a real thing. So here's the list of 15 bad guys compiled by I'm not even entirely sure whom, and the redemption story. And then I want to take that and I want to take it over to sports movies. I'm gonna see if we can come up with some bad guys in the world of sports movies that maybe we're like misunderstood. Here's a list, Lonzo. Number 15 on this list, Mr. Freeze, as portrayed by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Victor Freeze. Tonight's forecast, a deep freeze. Can we be real? Mr. Freeze just wanted to save his wife. It is not like he just wanted to save the love of his life. And here come all these outside influences getting all up in his business. If you'd have just left Mr. Freeze alone, he would have saved his wife and everything would have been fine.
Well, he did break the law. I mean, there's a reason why he was in jail.
Victimless crime.
Okay, if you say so. If I recall, he was like stealing money and components and things so he can,
save his wife from dying.
Yeah, but at the same time,
we can say at least it's understandable.
No. I get the reason behind it for sure, and he's been redeemed in several arcs. So yes.
Number 2 on the list, portrayed as a bad guy. This might be the definition of definitely not a bad guy. Pierce Brosnan in Mrs. Doubtfire was not a bad guy. Was portrayed as a bad guy. All that dude wanted to do was love his new lady and her kids. And instead, psychopathic Robin Williams goes full drag for 2 hours and torments this poor guy. And by the way, I'm just going to say, if she left Robin Williams, and as much as I love Robin Williams, Pierce Brosnan's an upgrade.
Exactly what I was thinking. Probably in every way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, definitely on the looks.
Yeah.
Portion,
My man had his bleep together. On the flip side, there's a reason she left you, Mr. and Mrs. Doubtfire. Come on, man, do better. Here's one that I, as a child, don't feel the way I feel now as a grown-up adult. This might be the most unnecessarily made villain in comics and, in fairness, in movies. Mr. Wilson from Dennis the Menace. Dude, they called him the Menace. The kid was called the Menace. And everybody, all Mr. Wilson wanted to do is be left alone. But that rat little kid from next door, who was a hellion of the highest order, a kid so bad that he was called not a menace, the Menace. All Mr. Wilson wanted to do was be left alone. He is not a bad guy. He's just a regular dude who lived next door to a terrible child.
Rob, who coined the phrase "the Menace"? That would be Mr. Wilson. So,
anybody try to stop it? Anybody try to stop it?
They
all went, yeah, Mr. Wilson's got a point. It's just that no other parents in the hood had the rocks to step up and go, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Wilson, maybe put your kid on a leash. Maybe reel him in a little bit. Maybe don't let him go over there and torment this poor guy who just wants to be left the hell alone, man. Dennis the Menace was the bad guy, hands down. No questions asked. On the list, Davy Jones from the Pirates of the Caribbean series. Yeah, I'm going to say, yeah, it's kind of the same thing as Mr. Freeze, right? Dude was willing to undertake a lifetime of torment and suffering to see his wife, and then she did not show up, abandon him. So what is he supposed to do? He was ordained to sail the 7 seas aboard the Flying Dutchman and to have sailors pay the penance for crimes that they committed, part of the ship, part of the crew. Davy Jones was not a bad guy at all.
Yeah, I can't fight that one. Yeah, you're right.
Not at all. Walter Peck from the Ghostbusters. Can we be straight up? The Ghostbusters had like unlicensed nuclear material in a random ass fire station in downtown New York. And my dude never even like pushed on him, like never sent the cops, never sent a SWAT team, never called in the FBI. He literally just said, I'd like to know what's going on. And Bill Murray was like, what if instead I hit you with a few funny quips and then left? That'd be good, right? Walter Peck was a good guy looking out for the residents of that city.
Hey, Walter Peck survived even after getting doused with Marshmallow Man, and he's like the mayor in the latest one. So, I mean, you know, not only did he survive, he succeeded. Whereas the Ghostbusters were shut down, so maybe he won.
Here's next up on the list. How about this one? The landlord from Rent. You ever see Rent? Rent, super, super impactful. Obviously, got a long history of awards and recognition. It should. It's a great story. But can we be real? He let the tenants of that apartment live there rent-free for a year before he came calling to get paid the money he was due. A year. And then they're like singing whole damn songs about how oppressive he is. My guys, I know there's a lot going on in your life, and a lot of it is tragic. I'm not saying it's not, but man, he let you live there for free for a year.
You've never done a deal like 6 months, same as cash, and then, you know, after the 6 months, you have to start paying. I mean, that's kind of the deal.
Yeah.
I mean,
for the record, they didn't have that deal. He just knew there was a lot going on and was cool to like give them. He's like, I got enough cash. I'll cover you for a little while. He let them live there a year.
Pay your rent, people.
Before he asked them for the rent.
You know,
as landlords go, that's about as good as you can ask for. About as good as you can ask for.
I don't know, Spider-Man's landlord, the Tobey Maguire thing. He would ask for the rent.
Yeah, but that's just because old girl had the hots for Peter Parker. Which, by the way, can we talk about it? She would have been a way better woman than conceited ass Mary Jane in that series. Worse than Mary Jane.
I agree. She was not wishy-washy.
No, she straight up bringing my man fresh baked cookies every day, and for what? For no reason. Just because I want to give you some cookies. I'm gonna tell you right now. You find a woman who just every day brings you fresh baked chocolate chip cookies, you wife that thing up immediately, dude. Immediately. Next up on the list, Squidward from SpongeBob. Can we be real? For years, they have tried to portray Squidward as and he is not. He's just a dude who wants to work, make his money, and be left alone. Very much like Mr. Wilson, Squidward is the only good guy in the series.
He does want to play his clarinet too. I mean,
fine. He's got a hobby.
Yeah, he does. No, I agree.
Let him have his hobby.
He needs to smile every once in a while, though. But maybe being left alone makes him smile, I suppose.
Yes. Yeah, Rob Brown's an extrovert. I like going out and being amongst the people. But I'm also going to tell you, there's a lot of days where I go, you know what I want right now? My dog, my cat, my woman, my couch, sports on the TV. Leave me the bleep alone.
Yeah, the more we talk, the more I realize I'm like a combination of Squidward and Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
I mean, that's me.
Yes, 100%.
I get all the fun and all the talking to people out of the way at work. When I go home, leave me alone.
Yeah, pretty much. The Wicked Witch from The Wizard of Oz. This one's one of the oldest arguments, and it is a good one. Let me get this right. This lady watches a house fall out of the sky, land on and kill her sister, then watches some young pretty girl come out of the house and straight up just start stealing clothing off of my not even cold dead sister's body yet, and you're supposed to make me believe that the Wicked Witch is wicked? Absolutely not.
She did. Dorothy didn't steal the shoes. Glenda put them on her with magic.
Who had the shoes on the feet?
And by the way, she couldn't take them off. So, I mean,
I don't know. Maybe go after Glenda then.
All right. So the other thing is, if the Wicked Witch wasn't so wicked, then why were the Munchkins afraid when she showed up? She'd already been terrorizing. I mean, when you have flying monkeys as
same reason as Mr. Wilson, because if I'm trying to go and I got a bunch of little kids outside going, "We are the Munchkins," shut up, kids.
Yeah,
it's outside time. Be quiet.
They're not kids. They're full-grown adults. They're just
You get it.
shorter. I think out of all these, this one is the most false because she absolutely is evil.
No,
and
not even a little.
She's irredeemable.
Not even a little bit.
She can't even take a bath, dude. I mean, how smelly is she?
That doesn't make you evil. It just makes you stink. There's a difference. Although I do know some people who stink for evil.
I was going to say some stank that we've smelled in this building. It's definitely evil.
I've been to some cons. There's some folks that make me go, "Oh, you're the reason we get made fun of." I get it now. I got it now. I understand now. All right. There's a few more. There's a few on here. I'm not going to push back. One guy argues that Loki deserves credit for not being the baddest. Guys, you got to think about this. Think about this. Your brother starts a war. You participate. The king kicks you up out of the kingdom. It makes sense that you would go somewhere else and try to establish yourself. He did it in a crap way, but
first of all, Joe and
it's understandable.
Wicked is a retcon, and secondly, Loki does redeem himself. It's a different version. Well, both versions redeem themselves.
On the list is, where's the other good ones? Pre-transformation Ebenezer Scrooge. Says he earned his money and people who owed him knew they would have to repay their loans when they signed. Sure, he could have been more generous with his wealth, but when generosity becomes an expectation, it ceases to be generosity, which I think is very fair, TBH. I think it's fair.
No, poor Tiny Tim.
I mean, is nobody going to beat up on Bob Cratchit for allowing that to be the case?
What, for working in that place because he can't get another job?
He was a terrible boss.
I mean, he's not a good boss.
Sid from Toy Story. Guy says, realize now as an adult how weird it is for a child to be demonized for altering his toys. It was creative. Stealing from his sister and messing with fireworks is bad, but I don't think kids modifying toys should be treated as such. Could not agree more.
Okay,
lighting your G.I. Joes up with an M90 is completely and totally normal. He did not know those toys were alive.
All right, that's fine, but some of the other disfigured putting things on different bodies and stuff is a little disturbing.
Did you never do that as a kid?
No, and it might be ritualistic. I'm not sure.
It's not.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean,
you're going in way on the deep
Sid
end here.
the serial killer is not a stretch.
You're going way off the deep end.
That's where those kids start.
No, it is not.
First is the toys, then it's animal mutilation,
outside
then they're worshiping Satan in their backyard.
And those are the only 3 steps, people.
There's a 4th step.
If you ever look and see your kid take the arm off a Barbie doll, just know the death penalty's in play, because those are the 3 steps. It is toys, animals, Satan, murder.
You can fix it. It's called an exorcism.
Ted was fine. Or excuse me, Sid was fine. He was fine. He was a kid.
Ted's the name he uses now. His last name was Bundy.
Here's one. Ivan Drago. Ivan Drago was a boxer who was boxing. That was literally his job. He was doing what he was supposed to do. If they're going to keep the match going, he never broke a rule. He never cheated. No low blows, no shots to the back of the head. There was none of that. Ivan Drago was just a boxer and nothing else. Nothing else. Ivan Drago.
No, he was built by the Russians, and there were some nefarious things going on.
No, there wasn't.
Yeah, there was.
What was nefarious?
I'm not sure about the drug testing. That's all I'm saying. I'm not. I wasn't really big back in that day. So the drug testing, they probably got by with some stuff. Cutting edge technology, ways to get around testing to make sure that their boxer's able to. Not a bad guy. He killed Apollo Creed. If he dies, he dies.
If he dies, he dies.
That sounds like a bad guy to me.
Mike Tyson threatened to eat babies.
Yeah, but he didn't mean it.
Yeah, and I don't think he meant it.
Well, who, Ivan Drago?
Yeah.
He absolutely meant it.
You don't know that?
Yeah.
Ivan Drago was just a boxer being a boxer. All right. So there's a list There's a few more on there I don't get down. By the way, my favorite thing, I got this as I got to be an adult. When Sid took the Barbie doll legs and then he put a fishing reel up on the top of it, he made a hooker.
I got nothing over here.
All right. Sports movies. Let's do the same thing. Sports movies. Who are bad guys in sports movies that were not bad guys? Who are bad guys in sports movies that were not bad guys? 844-326-3663 is the renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone. Text us at 71307, 71307. Who are bad guys in sports movies that aren't really bad guys? Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Oh, Captain Hook is another good one.
Yeah, this is pretty bad. I mean, in the history of the show,
That's what it was. It was a hooker.
Equally, we both have said some things that were, but that was not. You should repeat that on the stage when we win Best Sports Show.
Yeah. I need you all to listen for 10 seconds.
Here's a good one. You guys
Sid made a hooker. All right, give me 30 seconds, guys. Be right back.
Why would that pop into my head?
What?
That's weird. Davy Crockett.
King of the Wild Frontier.
Why?
Killed
Weird.
him a bear when he was only 3.
I have no idea why that would pop in there. That's so odd. Maybe I'm about to stroke out or something. That's not. I mean.
Would be lying to say it doesn't concern me for you a little bit.
So insert your narrative in there, Joe. He said a movie, unless you consider life a movie.
John Fisher is absolutely.
Yeah, we
the
know
owner
that.
for
We
Major
know that.
League.
But you're talking about the movie. Stick to the script, ad-libber.
I do think the conversation is fair of it is his team. Does he not have the right to do whatever he wants with it in order to profit? The answer is yes. It's still crappy.
What? Wow, they worked really hard on that.
Road in Piedmont. Stop by and say hi. We'll also be giving away a $25 Ingles gift card.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider.
I don't know, Trey. I don't know about that one. I don't know. No one makes me bleed my blood.
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me, which is one of my favorite quotes.
Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898.
Laser. Blazer.
Get you into a term life policy that you can afford.
You're in error there. She swung both ways, Trey. He also got really forward with her on the porch, and she like busted him. So
Yep.
I mean, you know,
Yep.
that was at the time his real life wife. I don't think they're together anymore.
Marsha.
Listen on the Odyssey app. Search the Fan Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show continues. It is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, Rob Lonzo, and you. Be a part of the broadcast on the Renewal by Anderson to the Carolinas fan phone, 844-326-3663. Text us on the text line, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N. We will read them on the air. Sports villains who ain't villains. Sports villains who are labeled villains but really aren't. Lonzo and I both gave you a couple back at the beginning of the show. I went Kevin O'Shea, Al Bundy from the Little Giants. Not a bad guy. He was asked to coach a Little League team. He was trying to instill into those kids lessons about both life and football, and he had the audacity to not select a bunch of uncompetitive nerds to his football team. I got news. One of the lessons that is learned through sports is that not everything is for everybody. You don't get just to do everything you want because you're a plucky little underdog. Sometimes you're just not good and you don't get to do the thing. That's how it works. I wanted to date the head cheerleader. Turns out I didn't get to. I wasn't the captain of the basketball team.
Maybe with a little effort. Maybe you
No,
could have been.
I put in way too much effort. In retrospect, 40-year-old Rob would look 16-year-old Rob in the face and be like, dude, you are trying way too hard. See, because it turned out, and I learned this detail years down the road, the girl who was student body president was interested in Rob Brown for like 3 years. And she would have been way better wife up material.
Did she wear glasses?
She did not.
Oh, because that would have made it better for me. But
Could have had our dadgummit. What's the glow up movie? 500 Days of Summer or whatever. Could have had that. No. Rob Brown put in so much effort with a head cheerleader that he missed out on opportunities with other girls who were better.
You've just named every teen movie ever made.
Yeah, that's fair.
Except
That's fair.
for in the end, usually it's
It's
happy
me who
ending.
learns the lesson.
Yes, but
About accepting people for who they are.
well, you have learned it, but it's a little
true.
too late for that part.
All right. Texter says Clubber Lang, not a bad guy. Clubber Lang was not a bad guy. Clubber Lang was a guy trying to fight his way out of obscurity to the tops.
Really?
And was
Really?
willing to
Really?
throw blows for it.
Hey, woman, why don't you come over to my house? I'll show you what a real man is.
I mean, if you were trying to get into the head of the bad guy, that's a damn good way to do it.
That's a bad guy move. It's definitely a bad guy move.
Still, listen, we have heard IRL fighters say worse lines than that, right? Like constantly.
I don't know.
That's not bad.
It was Talia Shire too, and she was. I mean, dude. I mean, that's just anyway.
Texter says Shooter McGavin, not a bad guy. Shooter.
it was his time. You know, it was his time.
It was my time.
It was his time, and he got usurped.
And he had to hit it off of Frankenstein's fat foot. You know what? You're not wrong about Shooter McGavin. You're not. Shooter McGavin was a pros pro, was on top of the game, and out of nowhere comes this hockey jersey wearing cretin and all of his goof ass friends. Listen, I got no problem when an athlete doesn't give in to the peer pressure of this is how you do it. Like, no problem. All right. This is why I didn't mind Tiger Woods doing the fist pump and the shouting and the intimidating on the course. Like, good. It's different. It's new. It's fun, whatever. What you can have is people who are out there violating how golf works. You want to yell hoot and holler after a shot? Great. Can't do it while the guy's playing.
Does that make Judge Smells a good guy then? From Caddyshack?
No, because that dude wasn't going after pro golfers in the name of competition.
Well, no, I mean,
that guy was making life hell on a bunch of teenagers.
Yeah, but that's a part of growing up. And the other, and no, he wasn't. He was not. He was just trying to have his normal day. And then Rodney Dangerfield had to come along and ruin everything.
Oh, nice suit. Come with a bowl of soup.
Yeah, just because he also had money and they couldn't deny him, and the golf course was hurting for money. They had to allow someone like Rodney Dangerfield on there and all of his antics.
Can we also go ahead and just put out there
that was a nice boat? And then what did Rodney Dangerfield do? I mean, you know, it was.
So then Rodney Dangerfield's the villain.
Yeah, but Smells is made to be the bad guy in
also,
the movie.
More importantly, can we talk about the fact that Lacey Underall might be the greatest movie name?
Oh, it was amazing.
Lacey Underall is untouchable.
It was.
Texture says the dog from the Sandlot ended up being a nice dog. Yes, of course. Of course. This is a very good boy. My man was just out there protecting his territory as Darth Vader asked him to. All right? That's a good one. Texter said, Shooter. Oh, I did forget about this detail. He said, Shooter paid a guy to run over somebody else with a car. Definitely a bad guy. Okay, that's fair. I take it back.
It's hard to be redeemed from that.
Yeah, I take it back. You're right. That's a bad move. Had Shooter just gone out there and complained about the Happy Gilmore fan element on the course, Shooter McGavin could have been a sympathetic character, but you are correct. You are correct. That's fair. That's fair. All right. Let's see. Coach Devine and Rudy is not a villain. He's made out to be some dictator of a coach. He did not promise Rudy anything, but is held to a promise another coach had made, but it made him appear so unreasonable that the entire team basically has a mutiny to allow Rudy to dress. Rudy wasn't entitled to anything, and Devine isn't held to a promise someone else made. A freaking men. Amen. Good take. Good take and correct.
I don't know. Steven says Johnny Lawrence was misguided, not a bad guy from Karate Kid. I don't know. He was being led by the head of Cobra Kai and was, I don't know.
And of course, you know, the most controversial part of Karate Kid, the crane kick was illegal.
Yeah, well,
by the rule of the tournament that they even had the referee say out loud. It wasn't like on a sign in the background. He out loud said, no forward high kicks. You can't do that. And then they just let him win the tournament. No, Daniel-san, you do not get the trophy. You cheated to win. Cobra, you got to give Cobra Kai this. Were they ruthless? Yes. Were they violent? Yes. Were they vicious? Yes. Were they cheaters?
Put them in a body bag.
Were they cheaters?
Sweep the leg. Yes.
They were not.
Sweeping the leg, it was cheating. Yes. Sweeping the leg was cheating.
I don't believe the leg sweep was outlawed, was it?
Yeah. Sweeping the leg was cheating. And then later on, go for the leg was cheating. You already knew he was hurt. Yes.
How's that cheating? It's a fight.
Dude, they took points away for that.
Weak. Jesus Quintana from The Big Lebowski.
Yeah, still never seen it.
I'm disengaging from you right now.
Whatever. I mean, you like movie about stoners. I don't know.
It's a great movie. It is a phenomenon. It is not about stoners. It has a stoner in it, but it is not about stoners.
Is he not the focus of the movie?
Yes, but it is not about it's not a damn, what's the movie I'm thinking of with James Franco in it? That is definitely about stoners.
I thought you would bring up like a Cheech and Chong movie.
Or any of those.
Yeah, okay.
Correct. Quintana he's the villain in the bowling league, but he's not a bad guy. He's just a damn good and cocky bowler. There's nothing wrong with that. All right? Not a bad guy.
Who is
not a bad guy
by?
at all. Damn old, what's his name? That's in so many other great movies whose name I'm blanking on right now.
Oh, that guy.
No. You're going to know it as soon as I say it. You're going to be like, how'd you forget that guy? John Turturro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Transformers.
Robots.
The Batman. Yeah, he's been in a few things I've seen.
Correct. All right. Rachel Phelps in Major League, owner. This is interesting because this one translates Pineapple Express. Thank you, Texter. Pineapple Express, a movie about stoners. Great movie too. Hilarious. Rachel Phelps in Major League is just John Fisher, the movie version. John Fisher, the actual owner of the actual A's, who is doing the exact same thing she tried to do. Make the team suck intentionally, blow it up from the inside, and make it easier to move the team elsewhere. The question is that a bad guy move? Because it's her team. She's got the right to do it. She's absolutely allowed to do it. But is she the bad guy? I don't know. I say yes. Because when you intentionally hurt tens of thousands of fans to make a few bucks, yeah, it ethically questionable, if not legally. Anyway, keep them coming. Do you have any more sports movie bad guys?
All right, I got one.
Who weren't bad guys?
Thunderlips and Rocky.
The scene where he breaks kayfabe to Rocky after the fight has got to be one of the greatest thing that's ever happened. Got to be one of the great. How about somebody on the stream suggested White Goodman from Dodgeball? You know what? That's not a bad play.
No, we just talked about it.
We talked about it on the stream.
Yeah, we did. You're right. But he was not a good guy.
Bud Kilmer, Varsity Blues. John Voight's character in Varsity Blues. Again, hard-nosed football coach.
Yeah, but
won all the games.
Not necessarily a bad guy. I guess he just coached a certain way.
He did.
All my coaches were that guy. So
is for some guys, is not for others. All right, give me more. Give me more sports bad guys who ain't really bad guys. When we come back, we will go through the rest of y'all's list as well as actual sports things we haven't gotten to yet. It's all coming up on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Shooter paid a guy to run over another guy. I did forget about that. That's a minor detail.
Series with a 4-1 win on Sunday. It's the first ever national title for Tennessee baseball. They finished the season at 60-13. Texas A&M finishes up.
See, that's one of those movies I don't remember all the details about, Joe. I definitely saw it. I think a lot of sports movies, though, they're not really bad guys in it. There's just the opposition. All right, so he was a bad guy, but a very good depiction of what football used to be. I don't know if it's still that way. Might be, though. What was the name of the guy on the other team in Starship Troopers who ended up being one of the pilots and then getting his brain sucked out by the brain bug?
Starship Troopers. Incredible. That shower scene helped make me a man. Professor Snape. No. I'm going to the grave. Snape was a bad guy.
Yeah,
okay.
but that's not a
Redemption
sports
arc.
movie. Unless
I'm
he,
fine with the
unless he was the
conversation.
Quidditch coach, which he was not. It's not a sports movie.
Also, can you think of any other sport where a rule like this golden snitch would work? Like you can just do a thing unrelated to the game that ends the game. Like imagine an NBA game, but like if they released a wasp in the arena and a player was able to catch it, you automatically win the basketball game.
See, my first thought was, one person gets an egg on the other side of a football play, and if they can make it all the way to the end zone without the egg busting. That would work, Joe. I mean, that would actually work. That's a good one. I mean, that does it.
Sports movie with jets.
That's not what I was talking. I was talking about hole in one. You automatically win the golf tournament.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, good call.
Yeah.
Somebody just sent me a video. Apparently at a Rangers, I think it's a Rangers game. Well, I can't. Okay. It's on my phone. I didn't know it was going to start playing. Somebody sent me a video during the break at a Major League Baseball game of a mariachi band playing Higher by Creed as a mariachi band. I want you all to know that's going to be the ringtone on my phone for a couple of months. That's just spectacular. That's the height of human achievement, in my opinion.
How are you going to be like a week or two before that concert? I mean,
obnoxious.
Yeah. I'm saying that like it's that far away, which is not.
Obnoxious. I can't. It's the most excited I've been for it with all the great music we have come through here. And it is, we are very fortunate in the music scene. We're fortunate enough that we get to be a stop for the big tours, even if it is a weeknight stop, right? But with all the great great music we've come through in these great venues, it's the most excited I've been for a concert, and I can't tell you how long.
See, I hate being that guy, but what if it rains?
Shut up is what happens. Why don't you shut up?
No,
Why don't
I'm
you
just.
stop?
Do they still do the concert?
Why don't you stop?
And are you
why
willing,
don't you stop putting it out in the universe?
Are you willing to?
Yes.
To sit through a monsoon to watch Creed?
If they are willing to play in it, I'm willing to sit and listen to it. Absolutely, 100%. I again, you know what I am? I am like the preteens over Taylor Swift right now. This is my Eras tour. We're taking it back to the college era of the Rob Brown Eras tour. That's what this is.
Should I watch you and Keegan and the guys to see how I'm supposed to act at a rock concert?
No.
Okay.
Do not attempt to emulate us, Lonzo. You've waited too far in life to try to party like we're going to party that night.
Keegan, you'd lose unless you're just well. If you're mud wrestling Rob, you might win. I mean, but
no, good vibes only. All right, there's no wrestling going on
we
at
said,
all.
well, if it rains, we mud wrestle.
No.
So I mean,
no, we sit there and we listen to the to the wonderful music of Creed,
which we could definitely mud wrestle to that for sure.
All right, I'm not talking about mud wrestling with the fellas anymore.
We're
moving on.
While Weathered is playing,
moving on.
While Weathered is playing, if they play Weathered, I'll take any of you out. All right.
All right. Lonzo wants to mud wrestle at the Creed concert. That's what we're taking from this. So remember when we were talking about the Bravos earlier in the week?
Rob doesn't because he'd lose.
Yeah, that's why. That's definitely why. When we were talking about the Braves a couple of weeks ago, and there's a lot of folks out there that have takes on what's gone wrong with Atlanta. And again, there's been a minute turnaround in the standings, pardon me, for the Atlanta Braves over in the National League. The Braves are now 8 games back. They did have it at 6.5 at one point. They are 7-3 in their last 10. A minute turnaround for Atlanta. But I floated the thought that how does an offense that was by far and away the best offense in Major League Baseball last year. An offense last year that scored a historic number of runs. A historic number of runs. Suddenly end up in a spot where they are hovering at 10 games over 500. And I floated a theory that I got some flack for.
So it wasn't working, and I had to make sure it was working. That just happened to be the one that's maybe talking about your panic that you had like a couple weeks ago.
That's not the one I wanted to push either. There it is. So, how does a team that had a historic offense last year be so pedestrian this year? Be hanging around in middle to bottom third of most offensive statistical categories this year? And I floated my conspiracy theory that Major League Baseball may have deadened the baseballs a little bit this offseason, may have taken a little juice, a little spring out of the rock this offseason, because between the Dodgers and the Braves and the Diamondbacks, et cetera, last year, there were a lot of games that felt more like a home run derby than felt like a baseball game. And that is problematic if you built your team to thrive with the old baseballs, which were more springy, because you built a power offense, as Atlanta did. So if they deaden the baseball a little bit, it should hamper you, right? And the answer is, yeah, theoretically. But again, looking up and down the National League, there are now 6. We just got to 6 teams that are plus 500. The Phillies have the best record in the National League right now at 52-26. They are a game and a half better than the Yankees, who are 52-28. The Braves are plus 500 at 43-33. The Brewers at 46-33. The Cardinals at 40-37. The Dodgers at 49-31. And the Padres at 42-41 just climbed over 500. Last week, there were 4 teams in baseball over 500. 2 from the NL East, 1 from the Central, 1 from the West. Well, somebody went and did an analysis on what the baseball looks like right now. As of this weekend, this was the 6th worst season in MLB history in terms of average number of hits per game. This year, up to the weekend, I have not included yesterday's numbers in this. I can't imagine they'd change all that dramatically. Up through Sunday, Major League Baseball games were averaging 8.12 hits per game. That is the 6th worst in terms of an hit per game rate in the history of baseball. In 1906, they averaged 8.04. In 1907, they averaged 8 even. In 1909, 7.92 hits per game. In 1968, 7.91 hits per game. And in 1908, 7.76 hits per game. 0 years. Forget within my lifetime, 0 years within my parents' lifetime have ever seen a hit rate this low across all of Major League Baseball. Not a season since the late 60s has baseball seen this few hits per game. So last night was a great night in sports. Rob Brown had Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals on. Rob Brown had Game 3 of the College World Series on. And Rob Brown had on Braves Cardinals. And I watched this game. There were a couple of things that happened. Number one, there was a Schwellenbach pitch that should have been a strike that would have ended an inning that was called a ball right down the middle that would have prevented the Cardinals from scoring 2 runs and likely winning the game. Number two, For about the 6th game this year, I watched 2 off the top of my head that I can remember. There may have been more. Long shots from the Bravos that got caught on the warning track. Shots that it felt like Matty Olson, with the exact same swing and the exact same mechanics last year, was sending 3, 4, 5 rows deep at whatever stadium he was playing at. Last night, same swing, same mechanics, but the ball's dying at the warning track. So the fact that we have the lowest hits per game rate since the 1960s, and 1968 was the lowest rate since 1909, I'm pretty confident saying that what I floated initially as a conspiracy theory, I now actually think is true. I now actually think it's true. Now, pitching is getting better. Pitching is more diverse. It is more advanced than ever before. There is a science behind throwing the baseball that has never existed before. But while we are in what may be considered the new golden era of pitching, and I think that that's fair to say, did pitching improve that dramatically from last year to this year? Did pitching suddenly get to a next level between last year and next year? Or, as Zach just pointed out on the stream, did Ozzy's fly out at the wall, in which he got, if you know ball, every damn bit of the barrel on the ball, and it just died at the track? I got to tell you, I floated it as a conspiracy theory, and now I think I'm actually a damn genius.
Come on, you already thought you were a genius before.
I did, but now I think so even more.
Okay, all right. It's a confirmation. That's what it is, confirmation. All right, time to ask Rob what is going on by asking him what the X is going on. The first thing that's Xing is Pat McAfee.
So, interesting enough, yesterday a big day for WWE as it was announced. We couldn't figure out why WrestleMania had not been announced its locale yet. We found out yesterday it is because apparently WWE in the state of Indiana just signed a massive deal that is going to have 3 pay-per-views all at Lucas Oil, one of which is WrestleMania 25. Well, last night, Raw was in Indy, as you would think, the day after the day they make that announcement. And you would also think that Indianapolis Colts legend Pat McAfee and current WWE ring announcer / play-by-play guy would be there. McAfee was not there last night.
Especially after Triple H was on his show, Michael Cole was on his show. A lot of speculation as to why, but apparently it was a family emergency.
Yeah, and you hate to hear it. Hope it wasn't anything crazy serious. Family first. It's just wrestling. There'll be plenty more shows in Indy, especially now that WrestleMania, actually not just any 3 pay-per-views, but like 3 of the big 4, WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, and SummerSlam, all headed to Indy. So a little bit surprising. And of course, based on the fact that they did a little Wyatt 6 tease on the McAfee show earlier this week, I kind of wondered if it was going to, and it may still be wrapped into a storyline.
Well, they'll use that. I mean, especially because they kept asking during the broadcast, where is Pat McAfee? We don't know where he is. And then Wyatt 6 showed up. I mean, of course you play it into a storyline, but it's also the fact that all the rewrites that they've had to deal with through the McMahon, the last 10 years probably made them a little more ready for something like this. But Michael Cole was out there for the majority of the show by himself.
Yep. Started with The Miz, and then friend of the show and absolute wrestling icon, R-Truth.
What's up, man?
Just, once again fell under the spell of Liv Morgan and agreed to a title match. Now, I'll be real. I watched after the Stanley Cup. I watched up to the Bo Dallas Uncle Howdy promo, and then I bailed out and went to bed, so I don't know what happened at the end.
By the way, that's the best thing Bo Dallas has ever done.
It was pretty good.
It really was. All right,
I'm iffy on this angle. I'm a little worried about how they're going to tiptoe the line between mass murderers and supernatural weirdos.
Did nobody die?
Good luck, Chad, getting the dub last night.
As Triple H said on the Pat McAfee show, he's like, yeah, there's some people out there saying it was a gunshot wound and everything. He's like, just hold up, people. It's wrestling.
It's wrestling.
It's wrestling. I mean, come on.
It's wrestling. And of course, as we try to tell you all the time, professional wrestling is cool. Which I lost that clip. Where'd my clip go?
Oh no. Whoa. You lost the clip. Whoa.
You little weirdo. Seriously though, where'd my clip go?
I don't know. You've got a lot over there.
Professional
there it is.
wrestling is cool.
I changed color. I had all my wrestling smack talk clips are red, but that one's blue.
See, I moved all my wrestling clips to the right. So one row all the way, a column is nothing but wrestling clips. So there you go. All right. The last thing, Liv Morgan was trending, but you already took care of that. And the last thing is Taco Tuesday.
Let's all celebrate. Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong with a little Taco Tuesday.
I actually was just doing that as a reminder.
Because we're going to eat tacos.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I just want you all to look whatever is bothering you today in the face, whatever issue you got with the boss or the whatever your issue is. I want you to look them in the face, and I want you to adopt the JJ Redick mentality. I don't give a. And have yourselves a lovely rest of your Tuesday.
Don't do that.
Hayden Ass Mario joins us tomorrow, as well as some other fun and shenanigans when we return on the Rob Brown Show when the fan upstate later. Yeah.
Hey, boss, Rob Brown told me I could do this.
Oh, man. All right, you guys are all amazing people. Thanks for being here. I got stuff to do, so we got a jet. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Like we were going to stay here a long time anyway.
I mean, I usually hang out for a couple.
The show is over.
Not today. I got to go pack band equipment into the back of a car. Well, not into the back of the car, but get it prepared to pack it.
Nah, he's really we're going downstairs for tacos.
I also have a Liberty game tonight to call, so I really do have to run because I got to get set up for that.
And radio has free food, and we're going downstairs for tacos.
They don't pay us anything. They just occasionally give us free food, and we're happy with it.
Yeah, either pizza or tacos. Hasn't been tacos in a while. Pretty excited about that.
Hey, have a great day, everybody. You're all amazing. See you back here tomorrow. Tell your friends about us. Help us grow the show. Goodbye.